because I can.
Hey everybody, what's up? I've got Resolute Germ here with me. Welcome. It's your buddy Admiral Teague. Hey Germ, what's going on, my man?
Not much. Good to be here.
Thanks for coming, and it's good to see all of you. This is the part of the show where I greet everybody who's here. The Trek reviewer was here first. Radioactive is here. The Dead Man is here. Do I see anyone else? People are coming in. We're going to get the crowd fired up. This is where me and Germ fire our phasers like willy-nilly into the air, and there's no fucking AdSense tonight, and there won't be any fucking AdSense tonight. What do you think of that, Germ? Brought to you without commercial interruption. Our analysis and our talking through this movie on you are bought without commercial interruption. Oh my gosh. At Radioactive with the 5 Admiralty gift certificates. We had a hoot last night. You know what? Fridays, everybody's on. Radioactive was generous enough. He jumped on, and then we just what was supposed to be 90 minutes, and I've been largely successful at shorter shows. That just went on, and we had it was just because of the nature of Star Trek. Every few hours, another time zone comes online, and then one goes off. So what happens is some people will hold 60 concurrents. I guess they have all one time zone, or they have like they're really strong in like just the United States. We have maybe 40% of everybody is on the other side of the world. We have people in New Zealand. Like Melvin Deeply got here. It was really, really cool. And hey, I've got word from the transporter room that we have yet another member of our cast. Our bridge crew is joining us. Let me beam him right to the bridge. It's our pal. You know him. You love him. It's Sean Carter. What's up?
Oh, that's me. Hey.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, everyone.
Now,
that was a rough beam up.
Are you feeling a little messed up inside?
Yeah. Wait. Why didn't anyone tell me my ass was so big?
I have a feeling that people have told you before. I've seen you get up and walk away from that desk camera. What's going on? Welcome.
Okay. Yeah, we're live, right?
We are live. Yeah. So don't say anything insane. Only I'm allowed to say insane stuff. And of course, I'm in full Star Wars gear because it's freezing fucking cold in my apartment again. But I want to thank you so much. Joining our community on behalf of thanks to Radioactive, we have John, the Beagle Dad. Welcome to the community. I didn't know you were a member. You can talk to me anytime and come to any event. Read by Nature, Andy Morrow, Zombie Box Reviews, and Pops, as well as Lombardi69. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you. And thank you, Radioactive, for the generous gift. We're going to have a fun. Yeah. I don't know exactly what to do with member streams. I feel like the member stream is just maybe once a month we all watch the motion picture and just leave it on, and anyone can come at any time during the movie.
Yeah.
Talk to us. It's 4K beautiful version.
Yeah.
We've already analyzed it. So you know what? Before we get started, we're going to try to get the movie going a little bit early. Just one production note up front. This is in my notes. We have to say it. Gary Rand Graham. Anyone ever heard of him?
No.
Can't say that.
Plays Ambassador Saval. He left us on January 22nd, 2024, just under a year ago. Yes, on Stardate 0122.24, we lost the great actor Gary Rand Graham, who was a fantastic Star Trek actor. His career spanned 5 decades, beginning in the 70s in television and movies. Best known for his starring role in Alien Nation. Remember those great little TV series? Yeah, went on from 89 to 97. He reprised James Caan's role.
Nice, wow.
That was a good show. I enjoyed that sort of near futurism. It kind of was like a little bit like Predator 2 that way. But we lost him June 6, 1950 to June 22nd, 2024. I think that's 75 years, right? Just about. So, sorry, Saval. We would have. Unfortunately, you deserved a good 15 more years. You're a great Star Trek actor, and the needs of the many dictated that you play this role, and this might be one of his best performances. He is a dick in this, and we're gonna have some fun. Welcome everybody. But we're not turning on the ads for this.
He comes around though. He comes around.
All the Vulcans have a society-wide culture shock. Well, first of all, PDB was here and said that he felt that there's a reverse kind of Columbian exchange going on back on Vulcan, and he kind of left it at that. But I thought that was a good thing to think about, and I'm like, yeah, like there's definitely people on Vulcan who are like, we have to stop talking to the humans. They're not even cool. They're a problem. You know what I mean? And John the Beagle Dad, by the way, prayers for Rue. John's dog got bitten by a freaking snake. Yeah, and it's like we all love this dog. It's sweet, and we see its avatar. There it is. Everybody, if you can keep your fingers say a prayer for Rue. We hope for the best. We really do.
And beagles are smaller. They can't handle it as well as the bigger guys.
And it's JT Kirk. Welcome over at Dadnet doing playoffs, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. If I may, I just wanted to say hi to Germ. Hi, nice to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah. Hi, JT.
Hey, Sean. Hey, Germ. And hello, Admiral.
One of my favorite things about this crew is that we have like fun, close, ongoing conversations and everybody's friends. So I think we're all chomping at the bit. The theater, if you're on X, is pinned to the pin post, which is actually the same thing going on YouTube. We got a pin post. Go there and pile on into the theater. Please, smoking in the last 5 rows only. All right, have a little class. in the 2 more minutes we have before we roll, I just want to say, I love the opening segment and the stinger to this. And to set it up, I just want to say this episode is, I think, a great performance by an underrated and underappreciated cast member who's in the show a lot more than we realized. JT pointed it out, and I did the research on it. Admiral Forrest is fatherly in this one, man. He's a good commanding officer to Archer. You can see the day, like it's not said, but can't you just see the days where it was just like he was in the center seat of whatever it was they had, and Archer was at the helm, chomping at the bit, being a more engaging Mayweather, maybe learning a little bit about being tough and calm from like fatherly. It's like it works. It's like, it's all right, John. But there's a mistake at the beginning of this episode, and the other thing I'll say is that no one should ever go to a planet where you can't even light up a cigarette. It's like, we've gone to Explodo 4. We're gonna start a colony there. What are you gonna drill for? Nitroglycerin? Oh, great. How are you gonna stay entertained?
God forbid there's lightning on the planet, but
everything about this planet was just a hair too stupid.
Yeah.
I wish they would have had something like, since we don't get there anyway and we never see the people who live on the planet, how about this? We're gonna need encounter suits. That's why the atmosphere is so messed up.
This planet is like emblematic of my luck with DeFerrer sex in high school. When this episode aired. So
just as you enter orbit, there's just an unexplained leak and it explodes, and that's the end of everything.
It just blows up in your face. Yeah.
History doesn't record this happening. All right, guys, pile into the theater. We're going to talk throughout the episode. Here's the thing. Let us know, and I'll put up the poll for the grade of the episode. Is anyone else here? Resolute is in the chat. Radioactive is here. The Dead Man is here. I think I've greeted everyone. I'm going to try to stay on top of the greetings. I've watched this one twice today, which makes 4 episodes of Star Trek. That's a little much. I think that, like, by the second viewing, when I wasn't taking notes, like, I was a little bit, well, I'll have my thoughts later. I don't want to spoil anything, but this, on the whole, pretty enjoyable. Really good directing in the second part. Let's go with Enterprise Shockwave. The whole thing's about 88 minutes. Part 1 will go, then we'll have a short intermission. We'll give our thoughts, and then we'll roll with part 2. So here we go. Episode 26 of season 1, which makes it story 24. And that means, here we go. On 3, 2, 1, and action. And let me jump in the Cosby to make sure everything looks good. Yeah, here we go. Looking forward to a new establishing shot of the ship, guys.
I am having Cosby trouble. Interesting.
Are you?
I am too. Yeah.
Yeah, I got Circle of Death.
Yeah.
All right, let me see something. I'm going to, guys, in the chat, what's going down? I'm going to close the theater I have here and reopen it.
I had the little Starfleet symbol showing on the center of my screen. Wait, now I see Deckard.
I just made it go away and have to start it and restop it. I don't know what the hell happened. I jumped out, so I'm going to re-engage. There should be like a little bit like refresh, I guess, now in about a moment. If I can get in there. I think now it's I'm stacking one Cosby on top of another. I have got it.
If I can get in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Darn this free way to share content.
Yeah, right. don't say that. That's not what we're doing. We absolutely are not sharing anything for free. We're charging a lot of money, and we the only place we live rent free is in our haters' heads. Here we go. Let me set up what else you gotta have a good rap saying. You know what? Because I accidentally closed Paramount Plus, I have some bad news for everybody in the theater. You're gonna have to watch the Section 31 commercial.
No,
it's quite infuriating. I can give you all the dialogue now in Infection 31. This is the dialogue in the commercial. I'm serious. It's this bad. It's like, why are you on my space station? That's her. She has affectated speech. I don't know where the hell it's coming from. So she's like, why are you on my space station? And it's like she's speaking like pig Latin thing. She's a brand new character. She's wearing some kind of weird cabaret outfit. And it's just edgy black guy leans in a little more. And he's like, I'm here to give you a chance to get back in. And I'm thinking, like, who would want this weirdo freak entertainer involved in anything? And then we see Captain Rachel Garrett, and she's like, Section 31, like, we're the worst people in the world, or words to that effect. And she's like, Section 31, where we fix things. I don't know why my version of the Cosby doesn't seem to be working. Does everybody see the episode? Is it me?
We see the bridge.
We see Deckard.
Yeah, I don't get what's going on. Give me a second. I'm going to go see if it's closing down my other device will do it. I might have to get over to 2 places.
All right. So now when the Admiral is away, the crew will play.
Let's see if there's any chat that's...
Yeah, guys, I appreciate the help while I work on this one. It's a strange Cosby problem. I have it once in a while. I'm in the right cinema. We had it before.
The reviewer just demoted the Admiral.
Busted all the way
back to, I guess, crewman.
I think I've got. Now, do you guys see it?
Yes, we do.
There we go.
See, okay, yeah. All right, that's on me. You know what? Yeah, Admiral takes it on the chin for that one. What would an Admiralty Extreme be without some problems? But you know what? Here's the thing. I did have everything set up in the right place. Just took about a minute longer. Here we go. Sorry. That's why we started early, so that I could get to the point where I was late enough to be on time. 3, 2, 1, and action. There's a Godzilla effect on the captions.
It is odd. it's ahead.
So I think what happens is at some point they catch up. AI may have put it in there.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be the first season of Star Trek if they didn't have a female-dominated planet, right? TNG.
Right.
Well, they get what they deserve.
Yeah, but at least they didn't have like real choppy haircuts, though.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to say I have some beachfront property on Angel One, and I don't really mind going there. I just put on the weird little weird little ear cuff. Very early 80s metal hairbandish. Hey, Tim, people are coming in. Let me see if I can't see.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to man the chats.
You did get a super chat there, Admiral.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. The Dead Man, thank you so much. Been busy over the holidays. Glad to be back to support the channel. You are a great supporter of the channel, and we're going to have more of you on here. We're scheduling that. We're going to have people that have had long relationships with on X. Sub Commander Tall said after the holidays, so don't think I forgot, Sub Commander.
Wouldn't be very polite to ignite their atmosphere. So does this planet not have static electricity?
I wish, like I said, like if they had been like needed to wear encounter suits and like didn't go a bit too far in a few places to have the minimal causality where like make this planet more flammable and more exotic, then what happens would seem a lot more logical, right? It's like they have these crazy encounter suits that they go down there, they can't breathe the air. Then you're like, and maybe fire isn't as bad for this species. They can survive the heat, but they cause an explosion.
Yeah, T, check the chat. You're coming in and out for us there, Chief.
Am I?
Yeah.
While he's investigating that, I did want to mention the effect of the entire planet atmosphere igniting and going around the planet was like incredibly quick. That's got to be the most combustible atmosphere I've ever seen. I mean, almost like pure oxygen or something. And even then, you feel like it would take a couple hours for that fire to go all the way around. So it was sped up. I get it. It was for dramatic effect. That being said, the effect itself, I thought, was incredibly well done for early 2000s CGI.
I like the effect. They didn't try to go too far. The only CGI we saw go too far this year was the ship in 2 days, 2 nights. And that was like in the cargo bay. I was like, what were they thinking? And that was my audio now. And my head's in the same place. But I'm not
it's about the same.
You're quite distant.
All right. I think I've got this one solved. I know what it is.
All right. Well, best of luck.
I'll be right back.
Sure. All right. So now that our opening theme here is done.
So now they're going through and talking about, yes, I closed the plasma ducts. I did everything. And they're like, well, obviously you didn't because something happened. Go back and check again.
I'm just not sure why they're doing this in the sick bay.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, didn't they kind of get knocked around a little bit?
Yeah, but nobody here has any injuries except for somebody with a mild concussion, I suppose. I just think that they needed a big enough room on the ship to have all these people have.
Right.
And they needed the doctor there.
Yeah.
And they have to walk around and the lighting's a little bit brighter and stuff. Yeah, it makes sense. Here's Archer's brooding.
Keeps releasing things into the atmosphere here.
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Hey,
sorry.
Now how do I sound?
You sound better.
Yeah. Better or normal?
No, you sound really good. Normal.
Yeah, normal.
You know what I realize now? If I just turn on the deck and go on live and not turn on the app with the deck, it doesn't do anything. It's throttled. I keep forgetting to turn on the app, and then I have to sync it. So it takes a second. right? It wouldn't be Star Trek with some kind of. I'm sorry, guys.
That being said, your level is a little low compared to us.
Yeah, maybe if you could turn up the gain a little bit. And I apologize for the sound you got. I didn't know you could hear it. It's this. I didn't. I was just playing with it absentmindedly in the background. I apologize.
Sean is the king of weird complaints on this channel. He got the speaking misspellings is going to be the greatest comment of all time until I die.
See, normally though, with that, it's someone says, "Who was that?" That's usually the comment. They don't necessarily hear it.
So they try to explain away this gas issue, saying it's a byproduct of their mining, and that it settles between 40 and 50 kilometers in the atmosphere, and plasma is the only thing hot enough to ignite it.
Right, like lightning.
Right?
Lightning should be hot enough, but also you shouldn't need heat to ignite something. It should be able to have a spark and catch.
Yes.
Yes, I was going to say this planet has no volcanoes.
Yeah, well, yeah. And if you were mining and you knew that this tetrazine was going to be an issue, it wouldn't catch fire only at that altitude. It would be a problem the second you started mining it. So you might want an open flame always running or something like that to burn off products. Like
like we see in our society. So their tech levels below ours, but they have star bases. So I just want to say again, I didn't really get to do it because of the tech problems. Really, saving Star Trek is brought to you by Gene Roddenberry's genius and the love of the panel and financial support and love of viewers like you. Thank you, the Dead Man. Duh. So I'll get your name right eventually. The Dead Man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the support. And maybe for the intermission before we come back, we'll play the Enterprise theme song music since copyright's fucked anyway, and we can curse all we want. Although don't do that because I think maybe we'll make an upload from this one. So curse now,
sure.
But like in the roundup, we'll be a little less cursy.
Fuck.
That I might monetize. What's the Admiralty's FNS show? What does that stand for?
Hey, look at that. Wow.
Hey, nice.
RTNZ.
Hey.
Another super chat.
Hey, great season ender. It goes from whodunit to holy shit and quickly ends with a satisfying drop. Take your scroll. I mean, Suliban bastards. The scroll and the Suliban have so much in common, but you're absolutely right. And also, like this part where he's RRTNZ, do you feel this one as he's looking at all these names? Did you feel a little bit of like crystalline entity? No, it's like doom scroll. That's true. AOL existed, so that was happening, but I felt it's like this is like Data, like having the memories of the crystalline entity's victims. It's like, oh, come on. I don't think I'd be able to do this to myself. What to what end would you look at them? Do you think you'd be driven to it? Is it believable action?
Very believable.
I don't know, but speaking of AOL, let me just put a throwback in the chat there.
Go for it. Okay, let's read this.
The good old days where that wasn't a crime.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get this comment right, because just like myself, a couple of misspellings. Great season ender. It goes from whodunit to holy shit. Quickly ends with a satisfying drop kick. Take that, you scroll. I mean, Suliban bastards. You know, when seen in light of the fact that this was done much worse with the scroll thing, I guess I have to think a little more.
Careful, Teague. Careful. Careful.
Is that's the F train doesn't stop by here. Thank God I don't have to get on that. Tomorrow starts congestion pricing. The future is here. See now it matches up. By the way, I love how angry Florida Man is.
Yeah, it's kind of uncharacteristic, though, of I think some of the other moments we've seen out of him. I'm not a fan of it.
It's characteristic of the guy who
He
blew
loves
away
this as
hundreds
much
and
as
hundreds.
Archer does, so it fits.
Yeah, I think it fits too. He's an explorer. I mean, he was really chomping at the bit to get out into space.
And even if the ship works, he has the highest chance of being affected by the ship of anybody because he's the engineer. Mirror Trip is like melted from the NX-01's engines or the IX-01's engines.
Mm-hmm. The yeah, 20 years. T'Pol's like, yeah, whatever. 20 years, okay.
Yeah, she's like, I'll grow out my hair.
That's like 2.5 bonfires, That's it.
Yeah. He's like, I could have hair like Crystal Gale by that point. It'll be fun.
And I love in the chat, FKHC 2005 was putting the Hindenburg in there. What we were talking about the atmosphere of the planet.
Oh, the humanity. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd figure that, okay, maybe lightning wouldn't be up in that part of the atmosphere 40 kilometers, but they have aurora. They've got meteors coming in. They've got it's like, okay, we need a thing to get a thing to happen to get them to be recalled.
You're going to the convenience system. There you would conquer a plot storm. You need to go to Planet Explodium 4.
Right, yeah. I give it I'm sure we'll talk about it in the review, but that's the one big issue I have with this episode. But they needed something to get them set up, and it's forgivable. They could have put more thought into it, but it might have taken more time. Suffice it to say, something happened.
Yeah, probably not worth it when they're going into the storyline they're going into.
Right.
They already knew at this point it was not popular.
Right.
The Dead Man's right on this, by the way. No matter what you think of this episode, you might love it, you might hate it. Here's the thing. Next week is going to be a whole new adventure. And we're going, time travel that works. Like just simply telling a story that happened a long time ago. We're not going to have to use anything stupid.
Right.
We were talking backstage a while ago today about the picture, the photograph in the background behind T'Pol, if you can divert your eyes for a moment. And that is
several ways.
A Boeing aircraft that Pan Am used in the 1940s. And the great Gene Roddenberry was a pilot for Pan Am during the 1940s. Now, did he fly this aircraft? Really cool. We do not. I could not definitively get that info before the show today.
The article I saw said that that plane was on the route that he flew, and it's just unlikely he wouldn't have.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's still a clear homage to him, though.
Yes.
We're talking about a total of 10 planes, any two of which were planned to be down, right? And a total of like 20 pilots. The idea that he didn't fly this plane is highly unlikely. And it's the thing that's great about it, though, is he flew that type of plane. And I think he might have taken one in for a rough landing, but also it's over the San Francisco Bridge.
Yes. Yes.
Anyone else love her moment of growth here?
Yeah. Now, this is another thing I don't like about Phlox with all the animals. I just never liked the animals being on the ship.
Yeah.
I know some people love it. I personally don't.
Well, they're just trying to go for that he's a little bit conventional and like he doesn't need all the high tech stuff to solve issues, right? Like isn't that kind of what they're going for with that?
Yeah.
Is it called holistic medicine?
Mm-hmm.
So
they need a little to balance out the Vulcan.
Yeah.
He is kind of an emotional creature, isn't he?
It's okay though. I mean, we get a lot of good lines out of it. The fact that he uses those. I mean, there's a little bit of character development we get out of it. There's some good use of those animals.
Now, he did say SOB right there, which I think was more of a push from maybe UPN or whoever, Paramount at that point, right, to make it more modern day. They would never have said that in.
We've experienced weird stuff like that all season with stuff like bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was that one episode where we were particularly confused, so we went back and listened, and it's like, when you fired that phaser bullet, and we're like, what the hell? Like, why didn't he even call it a round? Anything?
I like FKHC's comment in Cosme. Is the atmosphere a mix of pure oxygen gas, gasoline, and oil? So essentially 1984 Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's where are we going? Oh, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Sorry about that playoff game, Cleveland. By the way, ladies, I hope you're enjoying this as much as it made all of us guys cringe. But Scott Bakula, we all feel like we didn't work out enough when we see this.
I know. Yeah. I was looking at he's ripped.
Are we now older than him, so we don't have to feel like any need?
Yes.
To work out, right?
Yeah, I think he was.
You might be. I'm not, unfortunately, so I can still feel like shit.
Yeah, he was in good shape for this show. I must say, he was in pretty darn good shape.
I believe that he could beat up any single person on the ship except Florida Man, who would just keep coming back on him until he was forced to.
I don't know. Mayweather would slap him pretty hard,
and Mayweather boxes too. So
yeah, and you'd be afraid to lose to. Well, let's just say with Mayweather, we don't want to start another comment chain with his name.
No, hey, remember Eddie Murphy? Yeah, man, this guy, he's a guy, man. He kick your ass, man.
that's if you lose a fight to Mayweather, he's just gonna be
and like the Beagle here for John the Beagle Dad.
Oh, is this Leia Brahms?
No,
I think she's a little too young.
She is. Yeah,
it's just Leia Brahms' daughter.
Bit larger.
It
forehead.
Looks like her.
Larger forehead.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
Perhaps. I was shocked. I wasn't sure. I asked Jerem to look too. I thought she was older when I watched it the first time, but I was scribbling away taking notes.
That's a good casual. It definitely looks like her. That's a nice good decanter too.
Right there at the end when she does that little head move with her head turned sideways, I was like that. Because
was this filmed in a La Quinta?
Again, yeah. They're like, you can keep the room from 2 days, 2 nights. Just keep it. And right there, that's like
very
flat screen TV. Yeah. And this is like the worst special effect in this whole episode is Daniel's hair.
Yeah, wouldn't they have solved the male pattern thing by then?
Even if you couldn't, I would be like, I'm going with a look that doesn't make my hairline and me look super weak.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for Daniels. He's like 30 and he's got nothing left. But this is one of my issues here is he went into time, and so now he can't be differentiated from time. And so they're using the old, he jumped into time, so now he's part of all time, all the time, which means all time travelers are immortal.
It's the Nexus effect. Yeah.
Listen to this part right here.
Well, you must not be explaining yourself very well then.
Here we go. We get the worst answer. I hate this answer.
You get the Matrix line in here.
Not screw with it. It's already been screwed with, Captain.
Honestly, that was some needed normality. After the dose of dumb. However, the music for this episode won a couple of awards, including this song, Daniels Appears.
Must have been a down year.
Yeah. In a decent flyby that we've seen before, but
yeah. That's our first new flyby for season 2 or something.
I'm trying to load it. It's giving me issues again.
Is it?
I've got it
mine's
going
running
okay.
good. So this device, the headpiece of the tiny staff of Ra, was too cute by half.
We found this casino chip on the hall.
Yeah, we took this. This was left over from Deep Space Nine. Have a cup of Racketina and take a look at it. It's been used as a casino chip and a communicator in different episodes.
200 gigawatts. Wow.
Yeah, holy shit, Doc Brown. That was one of my notes.
It's a lot more than 1.21.
Yes. Turn the ship around.
Let me go to Warp Speed.
Turn it upside down. Anyway.
Oh, she's in the catwalk. There you go. We are reaching peak Hoshi in this episode, and then we are remaining at peak Hoshi till the end of Enterprise. We have not yet reached peak DePaul. Oh, we're getting there.
If anybody else is a Hallman and Tape Machines fan, there you go. So,
if you guys are like into maritime pursuits, both these women show their navels, and they're like one is sexier than the other. It's just like you can. I'm fascinated by Jolene Blaylock's belly button.
Yeah. Man, it's still not loading. This is grrr. All right, I'm going to pop back into the old YouTube and try to refresh it there. Mm-hmm. JT, did you say you had a alternate link there?
No. I'm just saying it works for me. It looks like Teak paused it.
I don't know. I'm getting the circle.
I did pause it. So Sean, just kill your browser and start a new one. I can't leave we can't leave one of the panel behind, and everybody
I did.
It's weird. It's this one's not me. So I killed off a bunch of tabs and hunted down a few problems. So yeah, you know what? Even though it's early, I did screw up that part up, but this is ready to go. We're at 22:33. I'm going to take it back to 22:23 when Archer and Archer's explaining kind of what's going on, and we're approaching near product placement here for some of these Dell computer screens, but be that as it may. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and action. That's the.
Oh, there we go.
He just made a giant technological leap, and he's like, "How did you know this?" And meanwhile, you know he has a cheat sheet from 1,000 years in the future. It's like, you've been looking at Daniel's fucking memory stick again, haven't you, Captain? By the way, this is the first canonical in the sense of episode to episode use of the word cloaked. Until now on Enterprise, when things are cloaked, they use the term stealth.
Oh. So they dropped it, huh?
I think the deal was they were like, we've lampshaded what we're doing kind of long enough. We can go ahead and just call it cloaking. Like, everybody's figured out that we're Star Trek. We can stop pretending we're not.
Mm-hmm.
That was me. That was actually me. I was actually trying to. That was my mistake. Sorry, kids. Welcome to the very it's the Shockwave effect. It's what can I tell you?
It's okay. We can use a reprieve from this rather dull episode.
It's a strange
in our TNZ said Picard is proof that in the future nobody cares about baldness. I yearn for those days.
Oh, yeah.
My hairline is in full retreat.
See, here's
I
the
can
thing.
sympathize with that, RTNZ.
I was a little I was lucky in that sense to a degree, but I will say this. There is sort of the one thing that we don't talk about is why not just have the situation be that you can go ahead and just like comb on some hair too. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's like we don't care about baldness, but at the same time, if you want to go ahead and be bald, for a couple of days, go ahead, because you can comb your hair right back on. It's like super easy. Like, well, like let us help you. We have this like several like devices. We have the hair replacement comb. It just combs it right on, and then we also have this. Like, I don't know why that seems to be this ongoing issue.
Well, Patty Stu did his audition for TNG with a toupee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For a couple of them.
Yeah.
He does the first, like what happened was they did a day of reads, right? And hey, the dead man, thank you. Have some Romulan ale. Dig to you next time. Live long and prosper. You know what? Look for the upload of this one because I don't think it's going to be major editing. We're going to do like a real review at the end. Right now, I'm going to try to restore connection. I think I have like one too many damn Cosbys open, and what happens, they start stacking up, and you get a little bit of confused, as my shrink likes to say. So your problem is you're confused. Here we go. All right, we shouldn't have any more problems here on in. I'm going to take it back to an even number. It's 23:01, so essentially 23 minutes, and Archer is being said captain. And I think it's Trip is saying it's a captain. Yep. Trip's Florida accent. Like when I hear Trip's Florida accent, real quick before we start again, it's got to be like when Critical Drinker heard Scotty's Scottish accent. Like I'm not saying Scottish, but I've lived there.
He's it's definitely not Florida. Yeah, but good night, Dead Man.
Dead Man, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. It's super nice of you, and it justifies the song that we'll play before part 2, because we played the introduction to the start of the show when we came on early to try to get ahead of the curve, which didn't work out too well. So at 23 minutes, 3, 2, 1, and action. That was the ball, Captain.
Oh, God.
By the way, that's this is
Star Trek 5.
Well, here's the good news stuff about the episode. While that might have been a little weak, this is the beginning of a trend for the rest of this episode. People have already anticipated their orders. That hasn't happened till now. Here and there, Trip anticipates the orders, but that's about it. T'Pol has second-guessed everything until now. Oshi has waited for instruction until now. On her own, she was just like not recording anything, but like, like maybe physically writing it down. And it's like, Oshi, what do we got? And she's like, nothing you're going to like, unless she memory holes her notes. You know what I mean? He doesn't even have to tell them, I want you to lose that transmission.
Script issue here. He spends 2 hours with Daniels while Daniels tells him how to build these emitters, but then they have to go in. But then they have to go into his room and pull out this device to find the ship schematic. Doesn't this thing have enough schematics in it to just get the beacons from here? Why does he have to talk to him for 2 hours to tell him how to build it?
Do we miss an interesting moment where they pause time and walk past some people standing still, like in the TOS kind of vibe? It's like, I paused time so we could have the 2 hours to talk. It's like, what do you mean, Captain? You've only been gone 2 minutes. Fuck my bioscience. There's a glitch. Must be Makabawa on a maintenance check.
Yeah. By the way, that was pretty good CGI right there, I gotta say. That was decent holographic look.
I actually prefer it to the crap that STD did.
I I don't know if that was CGI. That might have been old school, like, effects. Like we've seen
just a projection effect.
We've seen people get close to that, so maybe it was an improvement. Maybe it was only
you're probably right. They probably projected that onto a glass screen, or a piece of glass or something. Which just goes to show you, man. You don't need that newfangled stuff.
It took 10 craftsmen to do that and make it look great, rather than one person to overdo it and have no useful information. If you look at that for a while, the freeze frames of some of these computer readouts, you got Archie's whole biography in one.
That flyby was already used, I believe, in the credits or the intro, and they just slid the planets in behind it.
We reuse everything we can because we're going to get rid of it. Gotcha.
This is pretty badass, the way that they're using these beacons. I like it. Why they never have to use them ever again? I feel like it should be able to find the Klingons too, or the Romulans, maybe.
My only guess on that one is the in-world explanation, rather than the headcanon, would be these are real primitive cloaks.
Maybe, yeah.
He probably promised Daniels he'd scrap them after they got that fixed. And he's just honest enough to do it.
That was a little frustrating too, but I wouldn't want my captain any other way.
We have to lead ourselves to those conclusions, though, unfortunately.
By the way, when the ship turned towards the planet, that was from the episode where they test the phasers and blow that mountain in half.
Yeah, that had a very Romulan decloaking sound, by the way.
It did. And by the way, now we have the photon torpedo sound when we launch the missiles. This ship is a lot tougher. By the way,
I think in this situation, it'd be easier to destroy the ship and take what you want from the wreckage.
Based on what we saw this season, by the way, is this the most trigger-happy and dangerous away team, or would Hoshi make it more lethal?
Good question. I still don't think you're sending the captain and the first officer, well, the second officer.
I thought about that. Here's the thing. It's not militarily sound, but it is Star Trek edition. Spock, Kirk, and Bones went away alone a lot. The assumption is the unnamed people back on the ship are pretty confident. I mean, you're right, though. This I liked. Archer's just a little smarter than the Suliban. Yeah.
We know it was just a strobe light and shaking of the camera, but hey, whatever.
That made up for it. We got to see Jolene come through the airlock.
Mm-hmm.
And hello to LDG.
Hey, LDG, what's up, my man? And Sci-Fi Sit Dan is here. Hi, buddy.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, throw your link in the chat.
Oh, wow.
By the way, red beams, are they firing the kill? Wow, Victor, that is really generous. Victor Fontaine with a super generous $19 super chat. And he says, Admiral Teague and everyone here for Saturday Night Star Trek. Vic, you have been a mainstay of the Saturday Night Star Trek. You just love your Star Trek. You just loves it. And we hope that we have provided fans of Star Trek with the best Star Trek experience. To hell with AdSense. I don't need it. You guys get enough ads. Hopefully everyone's got a blocker. And Vic, you know what? Thank you so much for this very generous super chat. It really is touching. And, his name's Vic Fontaine. He loves Star Trek. Like, the enthusiasm here, I love it.
Teak, I don't know if you can get closer to your mic, but you're sounding.
Yeah. Am I away? I'm sounding different again. How's this now?
If you can get even closer.
No, I'm eating it.
Okay, well, now it sounds okay.
I'm going to turn up the my volume a little. How's that?
That's okay. That's better.
Get louder, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? The auto sync is for people with normal voices, and I have like a weird and loud voice. So like when I talk normally to sync it, it's not the voice I get when I'm excited or like watching Star Trek. By the way, we kill a lot of Suliban in this, and I'm okay with that because I properly dislike the Suliban. Anyone? They have behaved like heels to this whole episode. The change notwithstanding, I feel like those guys are crisis actors in the change.
I like the way the door slides down.
These are great.
In its odd shape. It was just kind of cool.
Yeah, it is nice.
Great sets.
Bet it's easier for them to actually build too, just sliding across the floor.
Or you have somebody behind the wall just kind of turning a like turning a valve or something.
Yeah, just turn the crank and it slides.
Yeah.
Next week in Carbon Creek, is that what we're talking about? By the way, this is great. You Suliban jerks. That'll show you for like crowding the jetway. And if you watch, they bounce off the mountain. They fall into the mountain. They don't fall straight down. They hit the side of the mountain. So the special effects guys hate the Suliban too.
Sharper image shuttle pod chairs.
Yes. Check out Sci-Fi Sit's channel. I got a lot of information from him about the early career of Alex Kurtzman. You know your adversary.
Alex Hillary
Kurtzman. Intel. Alex Hillary Kurtzman. Is that, you know what? That's why I'm afraid he might have me deleted. Once you told me his middle name.
Deleting Star Trek, right? Because you got to name the leaders. And
if I call him Kurtzman, will that have them throttling my stream more?
Through the insecurity, possibly.
You do realize that if I'm hit by a falling piano, they're going to be like, right-wing agitator and YouTuber Admiral Teague was killed today.
Well,
just long enough to put this captain's medallion, this MacGuffin on our ship. It's the first order captain's medallion. By the way, this is the exchange with Forrest I like the most.
Sorry, that answer. You think a captain telling this high star admiral, "Oh, I got friends."
I think the way he looks back at him means, yeah, okay, it's not for open channels.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think he's like,
then he's
like, I can't wait to hear it because he's like, you're gonna tell me. By the way, this is like the best Silik we've seen. I have a theory now on who's in the beam. It's Vincent Vega. I think if I stay close to the microphone, hopefully I won't be muffled again, but we'll see.
I think
now.
The shadow guy would be hilarious if it was Kurtwood Smith.
Oh, it's this too. I should be increasing exponentially now. This should be now pretty loud,
right? Not terribly. Not so far anyway.
Let's see. Yeah, but I just turned it up all the way. My circle's popping pretty big. Let's see what happens when someone else talks. Circles are roughly the same size.
Yeah.
Now my
this sounds okay.
You do go muffled quite often though.
That's weird. That might be it might be from turning my head. That might be why the streaming microphones are better. This thing's kind of shotgunish as far as its pickup pattern.
Right. Now, I pretty much eat my mic every stream.
When I did music, I had the mic right up against my mouth. The one thing I had to do is make sure I had my guitar and the mic balanced so I didn't have electricity shooting through my mouth through the whole show.
Which makes me kind of wonder, if you wear your comm badge on your chest, how good is it actually picking up sound? Like, do you sound super tinny on the bridge?
That's true.
I've always wondered. Like, you're in a big stadium, you're watching Tsunkatsu. How the hell is it like just picking you up? You're out on a away mission and it's like windy as hell.
This is what they do, JT. They take out your back molar and they replace it with one that can connect to it, and the tooth is actually blue in color.
I
and
see
it
what you did there.
Sinks right up to the it's a blue tooth.
I would think by then they would have the AI that would be smart enough to just hear what you're saying and duplicate your voice. They wouldn't even have to auto-tune. They would just hear you and duplicate it.
Like Ozzy Osbourne on tour in the first
right.
First 5 years of this decade.
So they're like getting space turbulence here, basically. That's what they're saying.
Right. Archer's feeling the presence of all these cloaked ships. That must be some sort of space wake or something. Like, because right now we kind of found out they can shadow you real close. So it's like maybe the instability in our flight path is because we have hundreds of these guys around us. And lo and behold.
This is very effective. Swing them down slowly, and they look, and it's like, oh shit.
This was, and you know what? They didn't try to do too much to CGI. They're like, but by the way, like, I wish we had this tech on the 1701.
Yeah. Well, you know, if this were STD, it would have just been like some grandiose thing where 1,000 of them are around them.
Oh, this show gave us. Listen, we got an STD from this, but the people who gave us the STD, they tried to blame Enterprise. I do not think that COVID is Daniels. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
I've been keeping my face right in front of this microphone. How's it working?
If you stay right on it, it's better.
So like now is even a little better, right?
Yes.
Oh, my Goldilocks zone with this microphone is so painfully small that I'm just gonna have to buy a new one. That is functionally useless now. I'll get through this show and I'll have a new microphone to the desk tomorrow, and I'll rob a bank on Friday.
For the Latinum, right? Just for the Latinum.
Anytime I have a decent month, a new expense prevents itself, and kind of that happens. But I want to thank everybody for a great month last month. You guys are so generous. Thank you. It wasn't a ton of money, but it made a real difference in creature comfort. It's like to be able to go have like a good lunch while I wrote my script. Thanks a lot for that, guys. And boy, my script is on fire. Fans of R.M. Briggs' more excoriating reviews of Voyager will enjoy my review. I might start to have what is called apoplectic moments.
Now, this, I'm leaving you in command. They exchange these glances, and the camera and the music really build this up to be quite tense. Like, this is a big deal for the season finale that we're putting the Vulcan in charge.
That was kind of cool that he cuts off the questioning. He's like, they're all really military. And even her concern about Archer being distracted because of what happened was properly military and properly voiced to the right person in private. Talking to the doctor in private that the captain is not acting in character to the degree that you're not ready to pull the plug on his command, but you're thinking about his actions and looking at what he's doing to try to keep the crew safe. That was very, very just gratifying. It made sense.
He was pretty pale stepping into that transporter, and now he's not. I just wanted to point that out.
Who, Mayweather?
The
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I see what you did. Yeah, thank you.
By the way, I noticed something about Daniel's chime set travel suit. One, I feel like I've seen it before already.
And
maybe in this show, or did I see it in another Star Trek show? Is it the Packwood's clothes? I don't know what the hell it is, but it only looks cool when the light catches it just right. And then you're like, wow, there's some stuff going on in that suit that's really cool. But even the Star Trek people in this Star Trek era can't light it well.
Of her.
Yes.
I love that angle.
I did. It makes her look tough, yet beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, her parents had something to do with that too, right?
Well,
Carbon Creek, she plays pool. It's next week. It's a great episode, though. I love Carbon Creek. By the way, if only the 1701 could know that. It's like they're targeting our warp core. Mr. Worf isn't going to be on this franchise for another couple of 100 years, and he's not yet got a girlfriend. No, not Worf's whore, the warp core. Oh, my apologies.
That was kind of grating in the ceiling that we've seen in other sets. I feel like they, gosh, I'm trying to remember, like this was like the Klingon bridge set that they had. And they did this stuff to it. I think that's what it is.
Look at his suit. You don't notice it, but if you look really closely, it catches the light, and some of it is really cool. But you really have to look. It's subtle.
You know what it looks like? It's like they took the under part of the Borg costumes and just put some tubes on it. It had to have been something like that.
They're not quite tubes. They catch the light in different shades, and as he moves, like the light reflects off it in different ways.
Right, or something. Yeah, I mean, it's like they're putting something over just like a wetsuit. I mean, it looks very simple. Almost looks like the original Dune uniform from the '84 film.
It does look like a still suit. Although I would say this: if I was Daniels, I would rewind time, kidnap myself, clone myself, get a new set of hair, and just put it on. And by the way, Archer does the right thing right here. He's like, well, if the whole world comes to an end because you brought me here, just bring me back and we'll move on. Like, and I'll just take my chances. I'll be all right. He's like, oh yeah, about that. We couldn't have screwed it up worse. Way to go,
of course, because it's the season finale. So we have to do this zoom out shot of
Yeah. It didn't truly, and I will say that
great French horn there, though. Some great orchestra,
by the way. Oops. This episode, like I said, the soundtrack won some awards. I thought it was a little bit inspired. By the way, I realized just how biased I was at the time. I remembered being super, super angry and pissed off from seeing the skeletal buildings. It's just like, I realize now that I was not objective to certain things at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I remember throwing something across my fucking apartment when I saw that. Like I might have needed a new remote control. I was like, fuck! This is cool too.
I think we're a little late in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. We jumped into the end of it. Thank you for catching that. That was bizarre. We almost spoiled this episode from 2002. You guys have waited 1,016 weeks and 4 days. We're back on schedule thanks to this double episode. So 3, 2, 1, and this part of the episode's 43 minutes and 16 seconds, and action. By the way, I wanted to say something quick. The recap music won an award.
Oh. Wes Cagel's here.
Hey, West.
That's going west.
You didn't miss it. In
you're in
fact,
luck.
I got something for you. Oh, I got something for everybody when it happens.
Hey, is it me or does Daniels look like Zuckerberg?
He does look like Zuck, and I don't know if that's not intentional. I just don't know.
Well, Zuckerberg would have been like 10 when this came out.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he is.
Oh, he was
well,
still
no, he
at
wasn't, like,
Harvard, I think, at this point.
he's in college, but he's not out in the wild yet.
Yeah.
He's at Yale being a dick. Or is it Harvard?
One of those.
Thanks for them and Rage Against the Machine, guys. The hell to be a lot to be said for your Ivy League education. That was another conversation we had today about Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
The anger came right out of Admiral Teague. Is it a wig? Or is it the worst haircut ever?
It looks like a wig.
I hope that's a wig.
I feel like, yeah, they shaved his hair and they're like, we just want you to have a disturbing hair look. Daniels is like 28. How can it be that bad?
It can be sometimes.
Well, the only people that care about looks in the future are the ladies that wear the makeup. The guys are like, I'm going to go bald.
Or if he had like a super short buzz cut, which was in style at the time, it's just like, I'll wear any wig they put on me. Like maybe it was good for his career. I don't know. But that is the weakest hairline wig. It's like, we want our tough guy time traveler to look like a really like nebbishy sort of office worker kind of guy who would have like a plant at his desk that he mists down multiple times a day. But I just want to say, if Florida Man had been left in charge, everyone dies.
Right?
He is every bit the guy who destroyed that freaking Tandarian base. Like, I gotta say, as shocking as that was, everything about Trip has added up to this is exactly the kind of thing he would do. Like, a laugh in Florida will make you do weird things, Captain. I grew up in Liberty City outside Miami. I went to Mickey Rourke High School. We used to beat Jadzia Dax.
It was a Vice City from Grand Theft Auto.
It's like I've got a death sticks problem ever since I met this guy named Sleaze Baggio, Captain. It's my Florida personality coming out. And here's our song, and I promise this for you. I'm going to pause this and destroy all copyright after this. And we're going to play our Star Trek song, and we'll do our between episode talk for like 5 minutes. We saw our stinger. We'll pause it here. We were behind anyway, and I guess we'll be a little quicker about it. Sure. No problem. We're going to go around the horn. We'll start with Sean. And then we'll go to Germ, and then we'll go to JT. So I want to see the infield really work this one out. Here we go down to third base. Sean, as I pause at the end of the credits. At the end of part one, your impressions.
It could have been trimmed down to 10 minutes. I really think that this could have been a 1-part episode. But it's okay. Like we set up some stuff. We get a good cliffhanger. It's not horrible. Not horrible. I mean, they could have done a little bit better job of getting them into quote unquote trouble where they get recalled, but it serves. It's are we going to do a grade here, or are we waiting to the end?
You know what? It's an incomplete, but like you could say stuff like at this point, like if things don't change or it's tracking towards, you could do that. I absolutely feel that.
I would say, like, I'm trying to put myself back because when I went back and rewatched this, I didn't get that sense of, oh my God, it wasn't like Best of Both Worlds, I think, is the best cliffhanger that Trek ever had. It does not live up to that at all.
You don't think the one where Captain Picard is hanging out with Professor Galen and all those weirdos on that ship is the best two-parter?
Yeah.
That one's fun, but it's kind of stupid.
Yeah. That one was not good. No, I didn't get any sense of dread. I know he's going to be okay. There's time travel-y stuff in the quarters. They're going to figure out a way to get back. And so there wasn't anything really that left me thinking, how are they going to get out of this? It was like, the guy does time travel stuff. So it's, which indicates why they dropped this whole plot, this whole thing after this temporal stuff.
I don't even know if they realize that they're going to drop it after this, because this guy's woven into time. He's like instantly resurrectable, and someone didn't catch that. They're like, we're going to use the fact that he jumped into time once to mean that that means that Archer is effectively immortal.
Like it's almost like they were trying to give, we need a Q-like character who keeps coming back. It was almost like a Q.
I guess you're right. Yeah. And it's just like, he's not working.
Right. Yeah. They're like, okay, let's just drop it and move on.
This guy, the wig just ruined him. Jerem, your thoughts here on part 1 of Shockwave.
Technically, it's very good, but storyline wise, it's a complete failure to me. The second they brought up Daniels and time travel, I started having to force myself not to tune out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you have possibly a grade for it to this point?
So far, it's a D-. Way too much on this. The story is just horrible so far.
The thing is, the performances are pretty good, and the conversation with Hoshi and Mayweather is the only decent bit of character building they were able to pull off. They're going to start to use Linda Park in this episode. I think someone realized that Linda Park is having like some kind of breakout career moment, or is outperforming the other new cast members, or is outperforming what they thought they'd get from her. And they're like, Mayweather, that action scene for Mayweather, it might be more fun if Hoshi did it. Because, like, once again, like a big tough guy would be called for. Like some two-fisted action might have been fun, but instead they're like, you know what? People like Hoshi better. Let's just have her talk to Mayweather about why he's lame, and then we can talk about how he aspires to be less lame, and then he can talk about how he's not so sure he made the right decision joining Starfleet, and we can see that Hoshi's like doesn't gives no F's. And like maybe we dial back we don't want to dial back Danger Junkie completely, but like we're always going to have another phobia in our bag of tricks for Hoshi, aren't we? Well, when they tell her, Hoshi, you got to do this brave thing, she's like, I've got some claustrophobia issues, and they're like, we're all going to die. She's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. It's just not the kind of thing that thrills me. It's not exactly
fine.
Danger Junkie Hoshi is my favorite. Danger Junkie Hoshi in the episode where they're like, so you want to go check out this ship? And she's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. And they're like, you sure you're not afraid? Like, you were all freaked out in the vampire ship. She's like, screw that. The vampire ship made me born again hard. Give me a phaser. Give me 2. Just like, what's going on, Hoshi? And it's just like in this one, like they don't really roll it back a little. Like she's ready to rock when they say to do it, and she's like, fuck you for making me do this. I think she was like, this was supposed to be Mayweather's thing. All right, if unless anyone has anything to add, I'll start part 2. We got the stinger out of the way. We don't have.
Where's the poll showing before we continue? What's the poll showing right now?
I just threw it up there. Let's take a look and see where that's at. A couple of votes came right in. It looks. Ooh, oh wow, it's
even spread
actively. 7 votes very fast, guys. If you're in the theater, take a moment. And guys, if you're on X, I'm sorry. If you could jump onto the link in my bio if you want to take part in the poll, you can just quickly use the X poll. And, if you share this to anyone and tweet it out, I'll be personally very grateful. The AdSense is turned off. This isn't about me profiteering off of your watching it. I want to give you the best, most complete watch party you can. And then we're going to give you the best, most complete wrap up we can. And we're kind of right on schedule for guys with only like 30 minutes left in this episode. So I'm feeling good.
All right. Cool.
Another decent opening stinger. Well, I'm sorry. 40 minutes left, but whatever. I mean, we're doing good. So another decent opening stinger. I would say this. The recap almost completely made the first episode unnecessary, but there was
exactly.
The things that it didn't have was worthwhile character interaction between Hoshi and Mayweather, worthwhile character interaction between DePaul and Archer. We got the bullet points, and that was enough to get us through, because we're going to continue with like really good interactions. And I'm going to say here in this one, we're going to have the B plot and the A plot. The captain is separated from the crew, and the captain on his little A plot, he has his adventure. But what they didn't realize or expect, or what happened by mistake, is, guys, is it me? The B plot with the crew and the Suliban is going to be a lot better.
I agree. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things in that I did want to bring up, and it blends perfectly into this, was on the very first time that you watch this, you're not quite confident in T'Pol's ability to lead this human crew. And is she really ready to be the captain of this ship? And will everybody listen to her?
Trip's anxiety speaks to that.
Yeah, exactly. And on subsequent viewings, of course, the result, and you've seen all the other seasons. You know a lot more about this character, so you don't have any doubt left in your mind. Unfortunately, it's kind of spoiled at that point for you. But the first time through, there's some general questions and unease that you come away with. So we have to keep that in mind too, that when this originally aired, it was a pretty rocky and unsettling kind of, I don't know how I feel about this. I genuinely have a feeling of, is the ship in danger or not, right? Like it doesn't feel contrived.
The Suliban
sit there all summer feeling like ick,
I almost, it seems like the Suliban like had a conversation that we don't see, where it's like, well, we've been watching their show, like they're the third faction that's been doing this, and like, so we know what the characters' traits are. What do we do? And it's like, like I would just want to hear Silik be like, this is the third time we've had to rewind time to get a better outcome from these assholes. So anyway, let's with that, if no one has any more thoughts, I'm going to reignite the episode in a second. We ready?
Yeah.
And if you guys out there in the audience have any thoughts, let me just take a look at them quick. Let me just get the audience involved for a moment. Let's see. And by the way, we have something when we see Hoshi. Boy, do I ever have something for you. Hail, Wes Cagle. Hail to Phantom Outsider. And I'm sorry that I'm not interacting as much while we do this. It's a little bit hard to produce and run this, but with Germ here, I'm able to do a better job. I'm seeing a lot of hails. I'm just looking through for questions. We got a lot of people rooting for Team Hoshi. Maybe it's time to put the chat up on screen. That always helps. Share the load. Oh my God, it's all of us. That's the wrong screen. Yeah. I don't think so. I think I'll let the poll for part one run for at least 10 minutes. And how many votes does it even have?
11. It's scientific.
It's scientific. Yeah. You know what? Let's give everybody a minute, and we're going to let you guys get a chance to comment in the chat right now. And John gave it a B. Comment in the chat right now if the captions are bothering you, if you want to leave them on. Nothing means leave them on. Like people protesting means we talk about it for a minute, because we want to give you the best experience, and we are talking through it. But you have several options, but we want the most universal and enjoyable experience. And thanks for all the likes already. 19 likes is pretty freaking excellent. We'd like to hit 20. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. 12 people watching for a watch party. You know what? We're giving away TV and we're giving away views because we don't care. The real mission here is to get people on board to make sure Infection 31 does not metastasize into the Star Trek franchise. What we unfortunately need: to be a good soldier, you have to love the army. To be a good general, you have to be willing to order the destruction of that which you love. And for Star Trek to be a good admiral, you must love Star Trek. But to be a good leader of the last of the Federation, and as far as I'm concerned, we represent the very last of the United Federation of Planets. Suppress that hashtag. we have to force these people down, and we have to give this franchise a half Nelson and a sleeper hold. We don't want any permanent harm, but a sleeper hold, and just like, they're a little too big for their pants. They're always out of their depth. We don't want to use their hashtag. I'm sorry that I'm running a little late. I don't mean to preach, but this is so, so important at this crucial moment in information competition. Let's put it that way. We have to win the battle by taking back our sacred terms. Star Trek is a fan worship word. Only fans and sons of fans may speak it. What was ours before will be ours again. Do not use hashtag Star Trek. Take back that narrative from them. It has been very flat with very little discussion. And today, Critical Drinker, he declared Star Trek dead and says that this won't make any difference. And I tend to agree with him. But if we can hasten it, and if we don't have a Ghostbusters 2016 situation where Section 31 keeps coming back and, well, Section 31 was like Picard 3. Well, it was like Picard 3, and it's got an Academy Award winner. I don't want any of that shit. I want us to put this in a sleeper hold, reduce them to comics and novels that have to be bought so that no one will buy them, have everybody get out of their contracts, and it'll be 5 or 6 years of nothing but fanfic. We got that much old Star Trek to give you at least once a week. Let's do everything we can. I would ask the drinker to maybe ignore Star Trek till after Section 31, and I have no authority to do anything, but I will say this: I am calling for a moratorium on videos and any use of the hashtag. But do what you will, and I will not call anyone out or shame anyone. But the right thing to do is to not use the hashtag. It only goes anywhere when we talk about it. I have been tracking it on Google Trends. It's about as close as I can get to what's happening in real time. We're not having an impact because it's not going anywhere. When their AI spike comes, it has to look all the faker, and we have to fight it. So we put 450 bots out of commission on this channel, and we can do it again. Anyway, the motivational speech over. Sorry, guys. And let me set up the Cosme. I seem to have lost the I feel like Joaquin in Wrath of Khan. How do you regain picture? Here we go. I regained it.
He just gave him the half Nelson. I think he gave him the full Nelson. That's cool.
I gave and the wing lariat, which is one of my favorite moves from back in the early 80s, where you kind of throw the guy across and like bounce him off the other ropes, and then just like grab him right by you clothesline him. I don't think you can do that one anymore. All those fun moves. I used to play that video. What the hell is that video game I played every day before school? It's the wrestling video game. It was the best. But anyway, we're at the 4-minute mark, 3:59, whatever. I think we've just gotten past the a abbreviated stinger and a recap. And I think it says a lot that the recap music won an award because it was perfect recap music for a recap that it did undercut the idea that you would have to watch episode 1. But there was needed character development. It was kind of like catch up time. It's we have a couple of minutes here. Let's get a minute where our strongest cast member, Hoshi, is a breakout cast member with some connection to Mayweather. They're both bridge crew. We never gave him any friends except Trip in episode 1. So let's just have him have a talk with somebody. Anybody like Malcolm, who's supposed to be a mystery we know more about. So anyway, here we go at 4 minutes. 3, 2, 1, and action. But Archer's a lot smarter than Daniels. Go ahead.
I'm getting the circle again.
It's working for me.
Okay, let me reload.
Yeah, closing and opening Cosme is a thing, guys. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I don't think it's a denial of service attack. I think it's that they don't have a whole lot of money to operate, but they do float this whole channel. So when they go down, we'll back to the old style where we just describe everything. And Archer stands there, striking a pose in front of the rubble.
800 years into the future. So it's not
100 years before.
Yeah, it's like 100 years before STD. Exactly. So this is before the burn.
This is before the
rug burn. Yeah, this is before the rug burn. This
is also pissing me the fuck off because they're doing it again, and I'll say it in so many words at the end of why I'm so angry. No, I'll say it now. It makes sense, but you don't understand it. That's a new Trek thing.
Yeah. The thing I do not like here is actually the cinematography. I hate trying to listen to two people talk and have the camera go around them with a bunch of junk that gets in the foreground. I hate
it represents the script
done this way.
I believe it's cinema verite with the scene. It's cinema of the real, where the scenery resembles the story, jumbled and convoluted.
Yeah,
it's honesty in film.
Great green screen work either. They're moving the camera to distract you from the fact that the green screen isn't really set properly.
Right, and it's dumb. They're doing everything they can. The set sucks. It's dumb, and they're trying with everything they can.
Like New York or something. The library.
It's got to be Frisco.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like our library at all, unless it's some new future one. I'm guessing it's Frisco.
Buddy Hepburn says in the chat, it looks like someone's about ready to go scuba diving in that.
Yeah. This scene right here looks like it came from a video game cutscene. Like back when they actually did live action video games.
Yes.
Like Wing Commander or something. It looks a lot like that.
There is way too much CGI in the set, in what should be practical sets.
Yeah.
They're standing in like a green screen kind of room. It's like, hey, Miss Katana, good to see you. They're thinking of it the way people think of the volume right now. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're doing the volume. And what really happens is, no, the volume's going to save us a lot of money on some sets, but some shit it just doesn't work for at all. We can't make whole movies there. Locations are still needed. We're like, oh, we'll go on the volume and we won't need a ship. It's like, we'll still need like a wheel, a deck, and a rail. Like that much needs to be real. Come on, we can't green screen that in. I don't like their guns. They're kind of lame and pink.
Yeah, that handle thing doesn't make sense.
The guard on that does nothing.
Yeah.
Anything.
You know what it is? That's just a phaser prop that they repurposed. That's all that is.
I think it's a Deep Space Nine phaser.
Yeah, I was gonna say it almost looks like a Bajoran one, but with
yeah. And we have some we have some German rifle. Yeah, that's what they are. That's why they're pink. For some reason, it's like we've decided to go with state anti-gun laws and have guns that no cop would ever take seriously. So they're pink.
Yeah, they got rid of the orange tip in the future.
Operation Just the Tip, remove that.
Remove it. Yeah, that's the point.
You know, in real life, do not modify anything and remove that, please.
No.
You'll get yourself in a world of trouble / hurt. So,
I always, when people say they're going to get like a cosplay gun and they're going to buy like they're going to buy like an orange one and paint it so they can walk around cosplaying. Like, I certainly hope you don't plan on actually doing that because mistakes get made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I have a Type 2 phaser, and if anyone messes with me, I'll try pop psychology, but my assumption is they'll know it's not real.
I just watched
Go ahead.
Oh, I watched Return of the Pink Panther today. Where his boss he thought it was a lighter. He kept getting himself.
Well, Inspector Dreyfus has a great arc.
So if they're 3 days overdue, this would immediately tip me off that maybe something's wrong. And the Vulcans are just so uninterested in figuring out why they're 3 days overdue and more interested in making the humans look like shit. Which
it's like they waited the extra 2 days at the risk of all these things they said were bad so they could have this talk. Good point.
So if I were to think of this in terms of like Earth, if a Soviet, ballistic missile boomer is 3 days overdue and the Americans are taking note, you would be having talks in the embassy like, hey, your boat was supposed to report in. It's 3 days overdue. You want us to go look for that thing? Not like we're just gonna wait and then go on CNN to make them look bad. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
use the
there's
line
an interest in going and finding them, not having this conversation.
Use the line that ended the Hunt for Red October. Sergey, are you telling me you've lost another submarine?
Or as Quint would say, they didn't even list us overdue for a week. You know.
When my father told me that was a true story, I'm like, that was more horrible than the movie. That was the most horrible part of the movie. There was no blood or nothing, but that story was fucking crazy.
So I think it just falls apart there. And so you can't have the rest of the episode because they make the Vulcans out to be bigger assholes than I think they should have been.
Yeah. Thank God you were like that, because I was like, that was a great moment in Jaws.
Well, yeah. And then the support staff for the Admiral, I feel like he got overly animated for what the dialogue was. I just think people would have been a little more professional than that.
Well, here's the thing. We've got Star Trek's Undertaker directing this. This guy is Star Trek's Undertaker. He directed the series finales for Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and he's going to do it for this one. Which that means Jonathan Frakes' series finale does not count it as a series finale, but as an Enterprise movie event separate from the show. Because he directs that.
Are they in an actual library here, or are they in a set library?
It feels like a set.
This almost looks like a Friday the 13th kind of set. You know, like this is fake dust.
When Archer pulls out this book, he struggles with the title. He's like the Romulan Empire.
Also,
yeah,
I thought it was a shitty set because only like 1 out of every 10 books actually has the label on the spine with the Dewey Decimal Code.
Well, in the future, they use the Dewey hexadecimal system. That's why Archer's confused.
You want to see the fake?
Only real books. Half of those books are just a plate there.
Cardboard.
Listen, if you want to see a really bad bookcase and a really bad mistake in a good movie, Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, look hard at the bookshelf behind him when he says X marks the spot in the library. Mm-hmm. Those book spines are glued right to a piece of like oak tag or something that's been spray painted black, but they fucked up and they didn't use black matte and they didn't recess it even a little. So it looks very 2D and it's shiny. Just not as shiny as it, like they didn't use gloss, but they didn't get matte spray paint. They fucked up.
It was eggshell or something. Semi-gloss.
When you watch that library scene, that took me out of that movie for 10 minutes when I saw it in the theater. I was like, this is an Indiana Jones movie? It's like,
and at the premiere,
before I got it.
At the premiere, Spielberg was yelling at Kennedy, I gave you one job.
But that
I put you in charge of one thing that was going to be on screen.
That was the night that I was off and you were working late and the other person made the coffee. It's not my fault.
Just look how few books on the spine actually have that white square.
That is weird that you managed to nail that.
What about the square? What do those indicate?
In the library,
those are the real books.
That's where it says like the 2 letters for the author's last name and then the decimal number. So you know where it's supposed to go on the shelf.
That's cool.
In the United States. Yeah.
You know, my best guess here is either they were trying to fill in too many spaces or they had this scene done a couple of different ways. So like the books with the white, you can grab any one of them if you feel the moment. Maybe they wanted to give them options. Acting options because the scene's so weak. There might have been a bigger take of this with Scott really trying to act this into reality. And they're like, it's not going to work. Let's just let Daniels take the hit. We're killing him anyway.
Also, the library has all the windows intact.
The heel.
Yeah.
That's future tech. You didn't know about that? We have that here in New York.
But there is dust in there. So who knows?
By the way, I love this sequence. Oh, it's phenomenal. I was going to comment about that too and say exactly that. This is great.
After all that dumb, this is amazing.
The fun thing is too, like they're simulating pumping these liquids through her or whatever, but they used like
oxygen
line. No, it's like a line that you would use for like water cooling in a PC or what am I thinking of? Like
did that exist yet?
Not beer taps, but like soda taps, like from the bag.
Yeah. It's it's like 3/8-inch line. Yeah, it's like a beer keg line.
Yeah.
and who wouldn't want to pump fluids through to Paul? I mean, come on.
How great would it be if like the camera panned over and like on top of the pump is like it's like a Milwaukee's best and it's like this won't be pleasant when you wake up tomorrow.
it's Blatz. It's Blatz beer.
You're gonna tell us everything, and you're not gonna like it.
We can switch this to Pilsner. It doesn't have to be that bad.
Look, you got to put up what RT and Zed just put up. It's breaking the fourth wall.
I feel
that's a great comment.
He's an Epps for Scott Bakula to do a somewhat meta fourth wall break. Look straight into the camera and go, "Not fucking time travel again." Yeah. Oh boy. By the way, I always say like keep it simple, keep it safe with the time travel. This is too simple because the detail they layer on begs too many questions. It's like, oh, we have particle inhibitors on every desk in my school, and he's like, oh, this sounds incredibly technical. He's like, it is incredibly technical. I'm going to try to do it with like stone knives and bear skins, like that, like forever. Like I found copper, and it's like he doesn't even take Archie's word for it. He's smart enough, and he's like pounding into strips of no more than 1 millimeter, and that's as much tech info as we get on how we build this weird device.
They found the MacGyver book in the library.
Well, what I don't like here is that Archer by himself is on his own little quantum leap. Oh boy,
this is kind of fun though. With the door intercoms.
Yeah, it is cool. It's creative.
I'm starting to wonder, do you think there was a conversation where it's like, we have Scott Bakula and we feel there's a lot of features of quantum. We could sort of softly roll into Star Trek. If this show is maybe struggling a little bit, we can inject that. Because at the end of all good things, we gave everybody a time travel mandate anyway. And we love time travel. It was great in Star Trek First Contact. And like everyone kind of looked around the room.
Well, I can't wait to get to All Good Things because that wasn't really time travel. That was a smart way to put time into an episode without making it time travel. It was a very smart way.
Not altered in any way, by the way. They went to like Bed Bath and Beyond and bought that spoon, and he did not damage it. And you would never get a blunt rock to smash a spoon down into 1 millimeter strips.
You're not.
Did they have the coupon though for Bed Bath and Beyond? That's the
20% off was
right.
I hope so. Now she has the hangover from all the Milwaukee's Best. They were pumping.
She is the best actor in the crew segment, by the way. Even though Hoshi is still great, Jolene Blaylock shows like she has like not just range, but like some real ability when she's acting like a nut a little later in this.
Oh yeah.
And you really like the handshaking was a great touch.
They're like,
she's a great actor.
Pillow, by the way, beautiful pillow.
I want to be that pillow. I'm so jealous of that pillow. And
she's a great actress.
She's got the open-eyed spins. So
here's the thing: Force Ghost Archer. And this manifestation,
this effect was bad.
Yeah, it sucks. Full body manifestation or on a device.
Yep.
By the way, are we going to get rid of the cuirass for poor to Paul? Is Jolene going to be able to wear normal clothing? Because the next episode, she's wearing 1940s clothes and 50s clothes, and she looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they go away from all the stuffed bras and everything like that they're using.
The water bra, the suit of armor, and everything else. Yeah.
Everyone finally sees what she got, and people were happy with it. So they decided they don't need to do that anymore.
not every girl's got to look like Jerry Ryan. Like it would be
this.
If
I mean,
not
happened,
every girl has a surgeon like Jerry
Here you
Ryan.
go. But here you go. I find this scene implausible because if you're that mentally messed up from
she would dismiss it,
non-consensually questioned, I guess is the YouTube safe way of
enhanced
saying that.
interrogation.
Yeah.
This ain't monetized. Don't say anything hateful, but you just go ahead. We have more latitude on this show now than we used to. I've made a decision and it's going to be in place for a while. And wow,
I just find this in very implausible. Yes, I know it's nice. Very implausible that this would have happened and she would have remembered any of it correctly.
God, she looks so good. I love this effect on her eye, and that's about it. If she had only seen the whole message, this would have been better.
They did it in Voyager with the Borg scenes from time to time too, I want to say.
That was the worst way for him to make contact as a disembodied head. It was like so Futurama.
Yeah, Archer's doing a Wizard of Oz thing. Sid's radioactive. Yeah.
Outside a warp field of dreams, believe it, they will come. Sure, that's pretty good. Warp field of dreams. Sean.
Mayweather brings up Shaft.
So here we go. Look she's not that freaked out.
Hey, Mayweather has a line.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Because this probably was supposed to be his hero scene when they first wrote it. No, just Mayweather's just really tanking out. Every time we count on him to do something, it's like he's soap opera level delivery. He would be the greatest actor on Star Trek now. They'd be like, we need more of Mayweather, like believability. And then Mayweather says a few things that are not inspiring, but they don't not make sense. Oh yeah, baby. We gotta get to Paul up in this
gone a little bit skimpier. I think Paul has a little bit too much up top to fit in that space.
She'll be in the catwalk soon.
I'm trying to figure out where this set was from because I don't think they built this.
I saw someone did a thing where it was was it on our internal chat where it looked like it was from Die Hard? Was it from our
we mentioned that too because they're going for it. That's what they're going for. And they do it a few times. It's probably left over from the Trips Die Hard episode Acquisition, and they just made it look a little different. But I think it looks like it's left over from Voyager. A Jeffrey's tube is a Jeffrey's tube. Let's keep these props. You know what I mean? It's like, by the way, when her hand comes down and it's like, when her hand comes down and it's very tiny, the first thought I went was like, oh, he guessed who it was because she's the only person who's been through the Jeffrey's tubes. And I'm like, well, he's a doctor. Maybe he just noticed that her hand was Asian.
He knew that she was coming.
I didn't realize he was in the conference.
Who else would it be? Yeah.
Well, he realized
they mentioned him. He just didn't make an on-screen appearance.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So now we know sickbay is on B deck.
Everything's on B deck apparently.
And also, Hoshi gives no Fs. She's living her violent, give no fucks life.
Here we go. This is the spot. This is the part. Here you go, Wes Cagle.
There you go. There you go. Why are you going commando in your uniform? That's the question I got.
This is what we see on screen, guys. We're sharing it with you. We'll just get that comment out of the way for a moment. This is why I think this is a great episode. We gave it an A+. This is the best of the season. It's a franchise high and one of the top 10 best Star Trek episodes ever, just behind Games of Triskelion as far as hot chicks with almost nothing over their boobs goes. We can leave this up for a minute.
We can leave that up the rest of the episode.
No one's
we gotta jump. You put it up. We gotta jump.
Also, I think it's funny because this shirt fits perfectly. I'm like, you showed up at this guy's quarters. He's going to throw you a T-shirt. He's going to be like twice your size, so that shirt's going to be like 3x too big.
Yeah, because Reed's a pretty built guy too. The actor. Yeah. They were all the actors were in good shape for this, I must say.
He had big arms and stuff like that, but Reed's T-shirt would be a lot smaller on her, even though Hoshi's small, because we've seen how tiny Reed is. Reed comes up to the captain's like sternum.
Well, sad. Behave.
His episode grade early.
I don't think that he was grading the episode. Yeah.
Let me go.
We see what you did there.
I have to go see to the poll, take down the results for episode 1 and see where we're going for episode 2, if I haven't. The episode 1, it's got 13 votes, 34 minutes, a good amount of time. It is split. And not DF, no one really thinks, but there's a representation there out of 13 votes. A, B, and C, it's split 3 ways. Guys, I love it. That's exciting. That means we asked a worthy question, although it might also be an obvious worthy question. Jerem, do you certify these votes?
Yeah, they look good.
There's the Mary Poppins bag. I wonder if they'd have just had her wear Starfleet pasties, if it would have worked better.
There's no way that would have cleared censors.
It worked better for me.
No way.
What I like is nobody stepped away from our conversation, even though our avatars are gone. It's almost like Hoshi's a better. You look at this is going to be the rest of the season, guys. This is how it's going to look. We'll switch to the poll halfway through every show. By the way,
I just want you to see the amount of damage he has on his face. The amount of makeup they had to do. Remember that for later on in the episode.
I wanted to say I was glad. And by the way, John, we're 27:30 in episode 2. I stopped it and I counted it back in. I'm sorry if you missed it. I will say this. This is the first time we've seen Star Trek do really good beatdown makeup.
Yeah. Although the blood that he spit out was obviously fake. I mean, it didn't look good at all. But the face makeup is pretty good.
Either they just wanted Reed had the hold in his mouth so long, right, that it just didn't look good, or it was like had something to do with like if the blood looks faker, the censors will go easier on us. Like we don't want him gory.
T, could you give John the Beagle Dad a timestamp for the episode?
Let's pause it for our friend John the Beagle Dad. John, we're holding it for a moment at 28:18, and I guess let's take another moment to appreciate this. I took a moment to paint out the watermark. I would just like to point that out. No one will see where I painted out the watermark because no one cares to look at anything but Hoshi. And I have to say, I feel bad for Reed if he wasn't on set when they took this, when this happened, because the way it was filmed, she could have been alone. Because when we
she probably was.
It's too bad, because you would figure that, like, Anthony Montgomery deserved that. Do I have the right actor? Is Anthony Montgomery Mayweather? You ready? I can't even remember. Anthony Montgomery, is it Mayweather or is it Reed? Okay, 3. We're 28:18, guys.
Dominic Keating is Reed.
Dominic Keating. Dominic Keating sounds like one of the Lord of the Rings guys. But here we go. 3, 2, 1, and action at 28:18. I feel like I'm at this reminds me of the last trip to the dentist. It really doesn't hurt. By the way, didn't he get the memo from Archer, like when aliens beat you up, act like you like it?
Yeah.
No, I think that's his personal preference. Archer just can't hide his little bit of freaking when it comes to getting beat up by aliens.
That is a damn quick Vulcan neck pinch.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's
it was
3
like
times older than Spock.
That was like a love tap, though.
Silik is such a simp for that guy in the future. Oh, what did I do wrong?
Reminds me of some kind of toy from the 90s, that pad.
Yes, it does.
Like, I can't put my finger on it.
It's like one of those fake DJ pads or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It actually reminds me of the toy of some of the toys from TNG that I bought, like the Playmates stuff, like the Playmates TNG tricorder.
Yeah, it really probably is a toy.
Effect. That's fantastic effects right there.
Yeah, that's good practical stuff right there.
I love everything they do in this little attempt. And by the way, they kill a few Suliban too. They don't give a shit.
Right.
And I want to say this. I think the Suliban are sufficient opponents, and I think they're the best looking aliens we've seen in a real long time.
Yeah.
Well, they went all the way with the yellow eye contacts and all the rest.
That was a weird exchange too. He's like, "Nah, I don't care about winning."
See, they cared enough about putting the full makeup on these guys. Nowadays, I feel like they do it in post.
Yeah.
Especially in films, and it doesn't look good.
In STD, Michelle Forbes' like Bajoran thing just comes and goes. In Picard 3.
Yeah. Now this CGI doesn't look bad. You know, they do an appropriate tractor beam that doesn't look too gaudy or anything.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on in that scene. You got the nacelles are smoking and lightning. You got the tractor beams. You got multiple ships flying around.
Yep. I was wondering if they maybe fucked up their ship for a few days.
That's a really good effect. Even this too. That looks. Yeah, that's good.
Now, was season 2 in 1080p? I'm trying to remember. That may be why the CGI starts to look better in season 2.
Actually, one thing about this I'll reveal is that 400,000 people less tuned in to see the end of the story. This part 1 was watched by 5.4 million, and part 2 is watched by like 4 million or 4.9 million.
Okay, I was mostly right. It is 1080i, which is the standard for broadcast television. So it's 720p. So it's one step.
They upscaled it, yeah.
Just below 1080p for Blu-ray, but 720 is.
There it is.
The drop.
Picture perfect drop kick.
Yes.
Captain Kirk would be proud
than season 1 was, so that's why a lot of effects look just awesome.
I want to say that the part about what Sean just said about how Captain Kirk would be proud. I was so tired of freaking Silik. I wanted him to beat the hell out of him, but why was he able to jump out of the quantum leap booth and attack him like that? Like, how did he get there? It's like by pounding a copper ladle into fucking strips.
In a communicator and a scanner. It wasn't that brought him back. It was that pad that brought him back.
Yeah.
They got them to manipulate the pad somehow.
They created some kind of a link with whatever Archer built.
It's It's not overly explained, but it's not exactly the Terminator just appearing in a flash of fire and then the movie goes on and you don't have to think about it anymore.
Well, T'Pol could do that, I think, right? In the ball of fire, go back in time, because you remember what happens when that happens.
She's going to do it next week.
This is another blink if you miss it. Mayweather's third line of the.
There you go. Some phasers on the Enterprise actually doing something.
We do get the idea that the ship is tougher than it was in season 1. At least at the beginning. And they can take a beating now.
Kind of, yeah.
I'll say this. I wish they would have gotten the original TOS sound effect for the phasers, because it's like they bring in the TNG sound of the phasers, but this is before TOS. You would figure it would have sounded more.
That's a great point. Do you think it's a copyright thing or Paramount?
No, they owned it, but I think it was just what people. It would have sounded too corny, probably, to the audience. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know?
Well, they do in a later season. In a later episode, they do bring that in for that one.
Oh, with the mirror
foil, yeah,
that was cool. Maybe that's what they were waiting for.
I have a problem with the phase pistols. Kill and stun sounds the same. And they haven't decided what color beam means what yet. So they're usually always shooting orange beams.
Yeah. The orange red beams. They went with the TNG era standard. It's always red.
And speaking of like standard, this is basically everybody's weapon on this show. Here we go. It's this.
Yeah.
Which is it's labeled Romulan Disruptor, but it's basically they all work off the same.
Yeah, it's some variant of that.
Somebody made a sound sample and ran it through every single sound, like every single like echo chamber they could, so to speak.
Yeah, Lieutenant Reed suffered some minor injuries.
Yeah, broken orbital
Bro's
bone,
face
broken
was blown up from that questioning.
Yeah, RTZ kind of out-thought me on that. He said that like maybe rather than Archer's madman theory, his goal was to get beat up so bad they believe him.
Yeah,
the dude's face was hamburger. Minor,
I love that.
And T'Pol recovered awfully quickly too. If we're gonna, she was messed up mentally.
You know, his denobulin space slug can fix a wound in a couple hours. You haven't been paying attention.
Yeah. Wait, who's that random Vulcan guy in the back there? Who was that?
Yeah, why is he there?
A couple of them.
Do you see him? Who was that dude?
They're there to remove the T'Pol
from the other ship.
Oh, he's from the other ship, right? They were docked. Okay, my bad.
Yep.
Here he is, the late Gary Graham.
I feel like these have to be like somebody's friends of the non-speaking Vulcans that all get to stand in the scene. They're like, hey.
You want to put on some ears? Hell yeah.
Somebody's ex-trophy wife, that pretty hot 60-year-old woman.
I would say yes. Let me take a day off of work. We'll do it.
By the way, I like that. Is this other guy like the next captain in the chain of command, right? He's like he's getting the next ship. I loved his anger. Go ahead.
He was gonna be, but then they replaced him as the captain of Columbia when it came up. I don't think the actor was available or something like that.
Isn't he the one that they keep saying they wish he'd been captain of the Enterprise? He would have been a much better choice.
We may not be there yet.
No, I don't.
The Vulcans have made another suggestion for captain a few times, and this guy's just not named. You know what I mean? This is, by the way, as good as any
nice shot of the helm.
Flashback episode, he's not alive anymore.
They don't show the helm enough. It's a really nice looking piece of the set.
I think this is better than most Picard speeches too.
And this bridge is actually fairly darkly lit, dimly lit for what we've seen in previous shows.
Yes,
and it's still far better lit than the Mountain Men versions.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, they were saying, "Oh, it's a very submarine feel, very claustrophobic and dark." And it's now, by today's standards, it's perfectly lit.
Mm-hmm.
It's bright.
The thing is, it's logically lit for what it is.
Yeah. But you know what, though? I mean, thinking of a dark lit, the way to do dark lit is the way they did BSG, the reboot. Mm-hmm. The bridge of the Galactica was very dark with a Dama in the reboot.
There's the con again. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's very practical looking.
They should show it more, yeah.
I'm glad we're talking over this scene. I absolutely hate this scene.
I thought Archer's speech was good, but the rest of it's kind of terrible.
Why are we making speeches and personal pleas? Should this policy be set at the Admiralty? Like,
she was a little bit of a bitch. She was a little bit of a bitch to him. That was cool.
But these are comparable nothings compared to the ambassador from Vulcan. Like the head of Starfleet is there pretty much. Like, come on. We're going to base the direction of our planet's future based on a Skype argument. Well-worded, a Skype argument, basically. Like, I don't have a problem with the content of the speech itself or the actors, but the whole premise that they're even going to do this is stupid. And it's there, I think, to fill up the last 5 minutes of the episode. They should have said, well done.
We have every single cast member on that bridge so that we can have their moment to look and react and feel Archer's power. By the way, this was a little like, what were they suggesting? But thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a pretty suggestive comment there. Yeah.
Like, what?
That's a callback. Last time he did that, she suggested something inappropriate.
Oh. Yes. And also, like, I don't care what Crewman Fuller thinks. She's ending up on She-Hulk as Mallory Book. So
also, as the captain, you should not be walking around the ship out of uniform. It's a bad precedent for the crew.
I think that's maybe a flex.
Pants.
I might not feel so bad doing it, but I might have a cooler outfit to, like, I might throw on like my tracksuit and walk around.
Right.
With the
at least wear the cool hat.
My thing would be like, I'm the captain.
But militaries will have an exercise uniform that you can
wear. I have that.
That is just casual from Kohl's that we picked up. Maybe any power.
I'll be honest with you. If I was captain of that crew, I would be a little more of a psycho, and I would probably have a combination of their uniform, and maybe older Starfleet uniforms, and just be like, you know what, just kind of dig this U-boat commander jacket that we had for a few years. Going to wear that. I'm going to have an ivory handled phaser. All right. So we just watched the 2 episodes of Shockwave. Carbon Creek comes next. I think everybody's going to probably enjoy that one a little better. I'll give my review last. Anybody feel urge to go first? Dealer's choice here. Anybody? Jump ball.
Let's go with Germ. He hasn't said he didn't go first last time. Let's switch it up.
Yeah, sure. The second one is definitely a lot better than the first one. I ended up giving that one a C+. The stuff on the ship's a lot better. They minimized Archer and Daniels, so that helped a lot. It actually flowed together for the most part. Some of the CGI was horrible even for the time, so that keeps it down. So balancing between the two, I'd say it's about a C minus.
That's quite honestly fair. Is there a high point?
So C, you said C+ for this one, but aggregate it's a C minus, C minus.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, guys, the poll. What do you think, panel members? Should the poll be for part 2, or since we've watched the whole thing now, should it be for Shockwave entirety?
I think the whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel that way too. We had part 1, part 2. Part 2 is the child of part 1, and this was definitely the right way to watch it. Like trying to do analysis and the whole show on last week. What on one episode of this? That would have been, we would have got that 90-minute show.
Right.
That mythical 90-minute show that I've been chasing. I had a 90-minute show on Friday that took 3.5 hours to end. The poll is live. Give us your opinions. Give us your chats. Give me a minute to get your chats. I marked off where we left off. I'll try to look at as many of them as I can. And I will go next to JT. And if Jerm is done. Jerm,
Yeah.
Got any more thoughts?
No, I was done.
I'm going to ask you a straight up question. A few numbers from this score won, like, BAFTAs or whatever, some kind of award for TV soundtracks. One of them notably being the recap. Thoughts on that? Were you surprised by that? Then listening to the music and having it be maybe a bit generic, but no competition or something?
It must have been because that was generic as it comes.
It
was the first time they used it.
It didn't knock you out of the episode. It was appropriate, but it wasn't signature enough, or it wasn't signature. It didn't hurt anything, but it by no means signature.
Yeah, definitely is barely even noticeable. I don't know why he even got a nomination.
By the way, I think the Bengals may have just beat the Steelers.
No.
Away for a while.
Nice.
Yeah, wow. I was wrong about that one. Except for Chuck Norris, he didn't travel time. Chuck Norris didn't travel time because time was too afraid. Let's see. Archer traveled nearly 1,000 years through time to drop kick Silks in the face. That's almost a Chuck Norris feat. Oh, yeah, I should have written an order. But yes, it is true, RRTNZ. And we're seeing some grades coming in. Let's see. They should have had phasers. I agree. The Suliban weapon sucked. Just give him another generic weapon. Did we have to retest those Cardassian weapons from Deep Space Nine and everything else and paint them pink? It's like, where's Suliban? We like a little
Their tech is a little confusing. I mean, they've got little tiny balls that can travel at multi-warp speeds, but they can't make a cool phaser.
Helixes?
Yeah.
Is that what they call them? They have to form together. Are they hexagons until they form the helix?
There's something. there's
some type of hedron. I don't know how many sides they actually have.
Tetrahedrons or some crap like that.
It's hard to tell.
Dodecahedron. They look like a 20-sided die from D&D.
It's going to take a lot.
Probably just did a scan of it to get that.
Yeah.
One of the things I liked was that when we saw their helix complex, their whole thing, it was much better than the first time when it just kind of looked like a beehive. This one sort of had a DNA and swirl effect to it where it looked a lot cooler.
Mm-hmm.
It just works better this time. And I don't know. Let me take a look at some of my notes as we go to JT. You're up.
Sure. So the rating for all of Shockwave together is 1 unit then. I appreciate a lot of the acting and a good portion of the writing, I think, was there. It was memorable as probably the best season 1 finale, season 2 opener out of all of the ones for this show. And for that, that's a positive because a lot of times the part 1, part 2 is kind of forgettable for most people. But this one,
are you saying that you found Sarah Silverman unforgettable in Voyager?
Well, yes. I'll leave that one alone. But yeah, that the Vulcan eating meat tacos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to this episode, back to Shockwave. I had issues with some of the way that they did the practical effects and the way that they wrote things that just did not make sense, were not clear, and not believable. The very intro to force the whole crew into the situation with the explodium atmosphere, did not buy it. I thought that was stupid.
I have a few things to say about that, unsurprisingly.
Well, yeah. And then in part 2, I think everyone here just heard a lot of my criticisms for motivations, the way that the characters are written, and the way the Vulcans act. I think it's there for dramatic effect, but not really thought out well. And then the closing, like I said just a few moments ago, should not have happened. So those things bring down the score quite a bit for me, to where I would be tempted to maybe give it an A-. Some of the writing really takes it down into a C, just a straight C.
It's weird. There are so many things in this episode that I want to praise, but then like there's like straight bad for a few minutes and straight dumb for a couple of minutes. And it's just like it's marbled through, because then it's just like, oh man, Hoshi's moment of heroism, I really enjoyed it. And then it's just like back to dumb. So yeah, I see where you're coming from. So the grade again, I forgot to write Germ's down. So Germ, what did you go with for overall? Germ,
I believe he was a C-.
Germ was like a C, C-, yeah.
Okay, and JT is going with a C- or C?
A C. I'm going with a C.
Wow. Diplomacy from the Kremlin this week. Well,
I
Sean,
lost another submarine.
Sean, you're up.
Okay, I've got a lot, quite a bit to say. Well, I'll try to make it succinct. But one of the things. Okay, so one of the things I think just first of all is John Fleck's performance as Silik is really good, and yes. he makes the Suliban not just a bad guy that's gonna just end everybody. Like you can see at least Fleck's performance, he makes us think that he doesn't really want to end anybody's life. Like, yeah, he's kind of a jerk and he beats people up and he does what he's ordered to, but there's a couple people like, you should just get rid of Enterprise, and he's just like, no, I don't want to do that. Like it's like
he asked to have his time. Yeah. Also, in the first time we meet him, he asked for them to rewind time to save his friend. So that's consistent.
So he and I don't know if it's Fleck's performance or maybe some of the writing or both, but he makes him kind of come off of not just a bad guy. So that does help the episode. He's a pretty good character, and then later on, of course, we see them working together. Which is going to be cool. That's a good episode to get into. I'm looking forward to that one. But it's like it's this whole 2-parter. It's almost like they said, okay, we need a 2-parter. We need a cliffhanger. And they outlined the main things that they wanted to show. And they're like, okay, write a story that goes around these main points that they wanted. They want the Enterprise to get recalled. They want there to be confusion. They want a whodunit. And they want a big speech at the end where maybe like finally Starfleet is starting to crawl on its own, and they're telling the Vulcans collectively, F you, we're going off on our own way. And the Vulcans storm off, and they're kind of like they've matured a little bit. That's like, those were the key points. Like someone said, okay, we need these in the story. Write a story that goes around these key points and moments we want. And we got this. There's some good stuff, but it felt very stitched together. Like they probably divvied up parts of the story to different writers, and some did a better job than others. That's just kind of what I felt. Yeah, they definitely did. Yeah, they're like, we need a 2-parter. This could have been a one part episode, and probably would have been a little better.
I would say the only thing I would add to that is part 2 maybe is underrated, because although it bears all the sins it didn't get answered for in part 1, that's a fairly artful dismount to get out of the enough time went by, I guess, in the writer's room where they're like, we have like a couple of days before we have to go back and film part 2.
Sure.
Like cooler heads prevailed, and someone's like, send some more money to the budget and buy some awards for the soundtrack. We bribe some writers to get us an award, and you know what? This is a little bit like we may have gone a bit too far in a few places. We might want to walk it back.
Yeah, they clearly, I think maybe when they filmed part 2, they were still working with the budget from the first season, which why I think we got things were stretched a little bit, but they made up for it in other parts. The special effects don't always pull me out of a story, though. Like, it's the story that's good.
Rough, though.
Yeah, but there were some good practical things as well.
The thing is, I remember this library at the end of time story, and this being, here's the thing, strategically as a showrunner or whatever, you have just made the worst tactical decision. You ended your season with a strong what if, and you come back with it's not said horns, but it's only okay. It was the best possible dismount. It wasn't like they set them up for a lot of success. I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, with this one. You want to give it a grade?
Yeah, I'm going to give this an 80, a B, just a flat B. I could have gone C, but I think they stuck the landing at least, and it gets season 2 off to a good start.
Would anybody be surprised to know that I'm going to probably come up with my grade after I talk about it, because I'm still processing? But thank you, Mr. Carter. Anything more to add? I'm talking to you, Mister.
I will in a couple of seconds here, but
okay.
Yeah.
Take a minute, and maybe you want to add it. Here's what I did. Usually I have a little bit of a rant to start the show, but we put that off to the end. So here we go. Here's the rant. Listen up, folks. Time travel in stories, it's a mess, okay? Just look at what happened on Paragon 2 in Star Trek. You get this disaster, 3,600 people gone, all because of some space shuttle mishap. Captain Archer, he takes all the blame. The whole mission's on the brink of being canceled. But then, boom, time travel. Daniels pops up, tells Archer the Suliban are messing with everything. Suddenly, Archer's back in time, fixing what was broken. But at what cost? And what cost to the story? It's like, he just wakes up there and wakes up back in time and all that. Like, it was a little bit too reminiscent of things that have been tried unsuccessfully in this franchise, in its new guise. Like, when we buy back the whole season and he's in his apartment again, I'm like, this reminds me of some Picard 3 bullshit. And I'm getting angry, you know? And it's like, both times, the first time I watched this episode, I fucking destroyed a couple of things in my apartment because it subtly reminded me of 9/11, and I was still really raw and angry about that shit. And I don't know. So this time when I saw it, I remembered my disdain and my anger at seeing the destroyed city and feeling like it was too soon and too tasteless. And just we saw enough, and the wreckage of the city was just like I'd seen enough broken concrete with people walking through it, and even seeing it now, I'm just like, it brings back memories that in the 17 years since, we've lost as many as we lost that day. So, and then Congress doesn't want to pay for it again. So whatever, that's a whole other thing. But I mean, in this episode, it's just, Archer takes all this blame. Boom, time travel. We get this first order captain's medallion to solve a whole bunch of things. He pulls a Doc Brown in 200 gigawatts, no problem. He just sits down in his cabin. It's like, hey, I'm just cheating from 900 notes, 1,000 years in the future. 1,000 years in the future. Imagine if we gave a USB stick to freaking Billion of Abel in Kingdom of Heaven, Orlando Bloom. It's like, everything you need is here. I just walked away, and it's standing there looking at it. It's like, yeah, okay, he's got everything he needs, but not really. And of course, he wouldn't react to it because it's Orlando Bloom. But you get what I'm saying. But oh god! Suddenly, Archer's back in time, fixing everything that's broken. But he just wakes up there. But at what cost? Time travel, it's like a cheap fucking trick. It makes everything confusing. You got Archer jumping through time, finding out the truth, but then he's stuck in the future in some ruined city with no way back. It's like 1 minute you're saving the day, and the next minute you're lost in time. And this episode is not sure sure which is going on for which. And it's like our time travel has to be saved by our freaking 22nd century guy who's like, whatever, like 800 years out of time. And like what Khan pulled off in Space Seed is nothing compared to what Archer does in this. It's like 1 minute we're saving the day and the next minute you're lost in time. Star Trek, they never quite nail this time travel stuff. Believe me, it dilutes the stakes. It turns everything into a loop, and nothing matters because you can always go back and change it. It's terrible. It's just terrible. I mean, I made some notes here about how many times it's like, by the way, again, R.I.P. Gary Graham, who played Saval. He died last January 24th. So rest in peace. You're a great Vulcan Star Trek actor and a great actor in movies like Hollywood Nights and Alien Nation. Admiral Forrest's performance is great. The whole cast is up to speed. They put everybody in a bad position in that final like series of speeches to just like felt like a prawn movie. It's like we're not quite done. The pizza delivery guy has to come back and ask for a tip. I don't understand. Just a tip. And Jolene Blaylock.
You like some extra sausage?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah. I'll show you the extra cheese. Listen, Linda Park has been solid all year. It's the most we've got on Mayweather, though. He gets just a little development talking to Hoshi. He's apprehensive that this was bad for his career. Like, I guess it fits, but it doesn't. Like, we see that he's human and he cares about his career, but that's about it. That's all they can do with this guy. Jolene Blaylock has reached peak acting level. It's going to stay this way, if I remember right. She's also she's properly concerned for Archer. Like in my Star Trek Matrix, are they military? It was not unmilitary at all. Her conversation with Phlox was completely proper. And although we may have not liked some things about this episode, and even maybe some of the dialogue in that sequence, would everyone say that demonstrated, maybe at cost of other things and not the best, but their dedication to military protocol? And we're starting to see through that conversation, it did do world building of T'Pol is starting to be a little more Starfleet than Vulcan Science Academy.
Yes. And I don't know if it's the writing or if it's just her acting, but they're really doing her arc as a character very well.
I think it's in this episode. My note is T'Pol seems to have taken it upon herself to assert to the crew that she's a real leader and maybe the real leader when Archer is in a way by re-inspiring their captain and also just bravery, intelligence, and one great tactical move after another. And we continue to see that the most bloodthirsty crew member is not Reed. He would like to blow someone away just to test out his new devices, but Trip is just if he ain't got one of them photon pistols, I'll take a club. That guy looked wrong at the cabin. See, he's absolutely crazy. One of the most violent Star Trek actors.
You know what else? So they've really done well in writing the characters that they're accepting to Paul. There's that moment where Trip, he's getting upset, and then she says, "Do you have a better idea?" And he just "Well, no, I don't." And it's they acquiesce to her authority, and it's she's earning it. But real quick, I do have my other thing ready here. Archer and Daniels could have gotten out much sooner if they were walking in that library. What they missed this guy right here. He was right there.
Oh, there we go.
He was right there. He could have found any book they needed. Yeah. That was time now.
I wish that I had said this, because one of the things that did go through my mind, I didn't make a note on it, which makes me feel like I don't make enough notes, and I have 7 pages on this shit. But I said to myself, missed a chance for a callback to a classic Twilight Zone episode by having that library step strewn with books. Yeah. No, it's we could have, when they have this meaningless conversation, we could have had a homage to the Twilight Zone that's not a memory. It's a homage.
They could have been piling him up like he did, his January, February, March. And then, fuck, my glasses broke.
Sean, how fast are you calling the divorce lawyer if you come home and your wife's done that to you?
Oh, dude.
Here's all your models.
Oh, dude. There's some wonderful things in here. That's it's why, Alan? Why?
you come home and you pick up like your Star Wars, your Star Trek, like Constitution class ship, and you open it up. It's been like put through like the paper shredder, and it's just like lines of like.
Whoa, dude! Don't even put that in the universe. Don't even.
No, I'm sorry. I've been divorced too. I've seen other families.
Oh, God.
I'm sure a wife. Look, they say the first marriage is an experiment. The second one's for love. It won't happen to you. All right.
Yeah.
But anybody else want to like? I'm just going to go through. I don't have a whole lot more notes. We're really good on time. I don't think we're going to go over we're going to go over it. If we do, not by much. And I wasn't talking into the mic, so that might be a little bit of a reason. And let's see if we can't get another microphone out of this by the end of the weekend. But I love the opening segment and the singer. Great performance by Admiral Forrest. The whole cast is up to speed. Would work on Mayweather finally. Oh, Trip is one intrepid and salty space dog already. I can see him writing all the procedures that Scotty would one day be following when he's like, "You've been trying to stop us from the beginning." And Archer looks at him and then decides not to stop him and lets him vent and yell. And my thought is, one, the mission might be over anyway. And two, this is your closest friend.
Yeah.
And you also kind of passed him over to be the commander. That turns out to be wise because he would have just eradicated when Sabal was reading the tail of the tape. Like, I wish they would have been more honest with themselves. How about it's like launched a horrible attack on a Tandarian prison, which cost thousands of. All he talked about was they freed 80 on Suliban. It could have been so much more realistic. It's like an attack that killed 35 Suliban and freed 54. 4 are still missing. Killed 75 Tandarian guards. You doubled back and destroyed the daycare center, Mr. Tucker. I wanted to be thorough. They need to fear us. Their hospital, Mr. Tucker. Well, a little more pain. If people want to live, they don't exactly go messing with the captain. Now, do they, Saval? I mean, he was that crazy. You know, it's just like, you know what? After Florida, this is the same. After the India attack Florida, these traits come back. And when we see like alternate universe kooky Trip at the memorial for the Zindi attack, remember that version of Trip? It is like that. These traits, like I'm willing to say now, they were simply willing. Like Trip has some deeply unflattering traits. Am I crazy?
Well, yeah, but not about this.
Those are right.
I mean,
Ouch.
no,
I'm just kidding.
Figure out the cure for crazy is a Vulcan.
He's a little bit.
It's a cure for crazy.
Yeah, you know what? It's like they're like, let's have a male Balana. And we basically, right? He's like, he gets angry. He pretty like, I would like to see maybe with his level of anger, like maybe he should have at some point thrown something across a room.
Well, you got to understand where he's from. I mean, you could take the spaceman out of Florida, but you can't take the Florida out of spaceman.
It was so appropriate because the space race starts in Florida, right? So like we needed someone from Florida. It was like having a Russian on TOS. I appreciate it. Daniels is wrapped through time, right? So because he's wrapped through time, it means if it doesn't matter if you kill him. We found that out. So like what happens if we kill him again? What difference does it make? This is all bullshit.
It's like Captain Ransom from the Voyager stuff. Like all of a sudden he's a guy in the homeless guy in Venice.
And yeah, that and like everything Daniel says is mysterious.
Oh wait, no,
bullshit.
not Ransom. I apologize. Ransom was from the Equinox.
I was searching my own memory banks.
But you know what I'm talking about. The guy from the time ship relativity that throws Voyager back to that awful Sarah Silverman episode.
Oh God, yeah, I hate
it's
those
Wolf
people.
Ransom. I believe it's different actors though.
Oh, it was Ransom? I thought Ransom was the guy that was the captain of the Equinox when they found that other Federation ship that was using the aliens to make their warp drive go faster.
It is.
That is.
Yeah.
What's the name of the relativity captain then?
If only I had a device to check the internet.
It's really confusing because what happens is that guy's not so different from the guy who builds the Starfleet-like ship that he gets Janeway to go on board to take her back to Borg systems so she can be assimilated because he's all pissed off and she escapes and he gets assimilated. We pulled that like weird ship from like out of nowhere a couple of times on that one.
Okay. By the way, it was Captain Braxton. So it sounds like Ransom. So we're right. We're on the right track.
Exactly.
No one felt like paying the writer of the other episode. They're like, let's recreate the character, like Xerox him. That whenever it's that close, I'm always convinced. By the way, where is Mr. Atos is a really right-on comment. Mr. Atos is one of my favorite TNG like planet people that we run into. He's a freaky weirdo, but like
Atos was TOS.
Yeah. Did I say TNG?
You said
TOS.
TNG, yeah.
No, he's a TOS guy, Mr. Atos, and you know what? He doesn't. Sean, you know what? Get the Gamesters of Triskelion sound effects. I think he has something that does that too.
Oh yeah, he does. He does. Well, hold on a second.
He has this effect too. Here we go. We'll do mine first.
Oh right.
That's his little time discs. They use it again on the Enterprise. There we go. You're now full color thralls. All right. Let's see. We have some time left. Let's see what speed round going on through my issues with this episode. Trip to Paul and Archer are the most trigger happy away team in history. It's cool. Everything about them we know adds up to a super aggressive and very violent approach to the Suliban cabal. Red beams? Are they shooting to kill? I'm asking. Cloak tech on this. Unremarked on. Why not also why not also beam Archer off the ship if they're being so ahead of? If these guys are on TOS tech level, they should just be like our transporters are safe. We're gonna grab you right now, unpolarize your hull. You know what I mean? And just save us the dumb dialogue. It's like after we've shown all this technical superiority, it's like we've sent over one of our little, golf carts in space to dock with your ship. Go ahead and just jump on it.
Yeah.
Sean, you're old enough to remember this. I don't know what LA did, but like in New York, the Yankees had like that year's top of the line new car drive out the relief pitcher to the mound, and he would like run out, like instead of running out. And the Mets had a golf cart that was Mr. Met. And that's what the Hedrons remind me of. It's just this golf cart that looks like Mr. Met.
Well, they tried it in LA, but the guy driving, he went and did a drive-by.
He popped a few rounds into the stage. He's I watched Star Trek Enterprise last night, and I saw the episode Detained. It inspired me to do a drive-by. We're not.
Ice Cube was driving. He pulled out his AK.
Will we find out what happened to Tupac because they arrested all those other people? You know what I mean? Like we got people intimately wrapped up in that. So it would be good. John, good luck. Good
night, John.
We're very sorry about Rue, and we really were looking forward to having her be okay.
Prayers, man.
Prayers. Yeah, prayers. We love that dog. And you know what? You've been a good supporter and a friend of this channel for a long time. So, I felt it. I was very upset. Not like it's my dog, but, as upset as a normal human being could be. Don't in context. All right, guys. You know what? Try to get a few hours of sleep. No matter what happens tomorrow, you'll be better for it. But yeah, you know what? Don't do anything dumb like drink to feel better, because then you'll just be bummed out tomorrow. And when the dog is fine, you won't have
then
to.
You can drink.
Yeah. Have a few celebratory drinks. You don't want to be hungover. You're going to be playing with that dog tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
And you're going to be happy. That
is the dog at the vet now? Is it under observation? Okay.
It's being taken care of. A snake seems to have got to it. I've been down to Florida, man. I live in New York. New Yorkers just go like that. I said to the Florida people, it's like, when do you have a snowbird on? So I know Florida better than people who live there because I get to leave.
Like, John, don't feel bad. I live in fear of it too because we've got rattlers all over the neighborhood here, and in the fall and the spring, they start coming out. People find them on their front doorstep. They find them in their backyard all the time. Especially there's so much construction going on around where I live. They stir up where the snakes live, and the snakes go try to find somewhere else to be, and they end up in our neighborhoods. So when I see stuff almost every other day of they're catching a 4 or 5 foot snake. So it's a fear I understand, and I have a feeling your pooch is going to be okay, man.
We all hope so.
It's under good care.
We have a great deal of concern about it, and we all hope so. All right, let's run through these points and see if we can be entertainers again. I'm sorry, guys. That was a serious moment there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We care about him. So, sorry. We'll just edit that out in post. You know what? Because the Suliban are really good aesthetically, I'm more forgiving of them. Anyone else? I feel like.
See again, I was reading RTNZ's comment. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Maybe a little behind on that one. Which one?
The last one. But go ahead. Germ was saying something. I'm sorry.
I can't bring myself to be forgiving of the Suliban in any way, shape, or form. They're tied too deeply into the temporal Cold War, and that just spoils them for me. So I never give them the benefit of the doubt.
I also, if at this point, like 22 years after this episode, I think that I would turn what I might turn around and say if I was Archer when they were like, you helped 89 Suliban escape, I'd be like, they're cosplaying being prisoners. Do you believe they're Suliban bullshit? How about that one? Because I didn't believe it as an audience member. He would have been speaking for me. Oh, and by the way, when Trip was yelling at the Vulcans, my note was speaking on behalf of the audience about this frustrating half measure of a voyage that has ended up with one like violent encounter after. They are the most violent crew. They make the Voyager guys look like sort of pacifistic sometimes. If you give them a reason to attack, they hold absolutely nothing back and put on the most vindictive and vicious. Is there going to be a moment in season 2 where it's just like, I've been looking at your Tandarian attack, Trip. Well, T'Pol did most of the planning, but my finishing touch was to go after the hospital, Captain. I wanted to make sure they had the spare to get that around the system that we messed with them. Yeah, you may have gone a bit too far in a few places with that one, Trip. He is the most bloodthirsty number one, well, whatever. Is he tactical on this ship? Because Mayweather ain't doing it.
No, he just has the edge on Reed for that. He's from Florida. He's a good Southern boy, and he loves his guns. And if you put a trigger within reach of his finger, it's going to get pressed.
It's like he gets angry so easy too.
Motherfucker, you.
Yeah, I mean that would be a more northeastern reaction. I don't know. I mean, it's like. It seems like he would never have to be asked to why he hesitated. Like this conversation doesn't happen with Trip.
Why? All you had to do was pull the trigger.
It'd be more like, Trip, did you have to quadruple tap him? What we have to come with a Florida man needs to go like ultra violent Trip until he changes. We need like a John Wick Trip meme, like John Trip. It's too bad the memes are so small that we can't do them. And I'm sure like I can't put a weapon or a gun. Like, I don't know, like the Colonel Green is like, when we deal with these gifts, they're so small. Like T'Pol and Hoshi were good ideas and it gets the idea out. The Drinker has the photographs too. Doomcock has a little bit better GIF emoji creation. I've got to get on it. The thing is, I can swap them out, but I feel like Florida Man, it's not seeing a ton of use. It's doing all right, but it's not seeing a ton of use. And hello, Raul Julia. But maybe we need a better one for Trip. But let me see. I understand that you can't really kill a TIE traveler, but why not kill Silik? It's time to kill Silik. I don't care that he was a little bit gallant this time. If I'm Archer, I kill Silik. Anybody?
It probably should.
They should have. Or at least detained him.
Beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
We've let a lot of people go. If Archer's attitude is to scare people around the system by showing that Earthmen like to get beat up and like laugh at you and quote Shakespeare and do other crazy things and make like out of context crazy remarks, and then also that Malcolm like lets you beat the hell out of him for a really long time before he gives up the info and like is able to take it. I would hope, you know what, they have the tag. If I'm Reed, I'm like, yeah, I'll be taking a fistful of painkillers first, Captain. I'll be stopping by the medical bay and talking to Phlox. You won't feel a thing, right? It's just like, please, I gotta go get beat up for 20 minutes. I don't want to have to feel it. I'll put your face back together later. Let me take a picture now. It's even Phlox like might have come into his own in this episode after being an engaging but really weird character. Let's see. Don't feel guilty. You did your best. I'm really sorry. That please try to get some rest. And hello, Raul Julia. Shit, a Federation member was bitten by a rat. Or we'll pray for that crewman. Thank you. If you guys want to put an R in the chat for Rude, do so. It's appropriate. We're pulling for her. And Trip is an engineer of focus. I agree. It's fucking pencil. John Tripp once fixed the warp core breach with a pencil. We'll get back to the comments. Let me go through some of the other crazy things that have happened here. I don't understand if you can't really kill a time traveler. Why? Also, here's the other thing. Why bother killing Silik? Right, so you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Is the only reason not to kill Silik is that he's time traveled even more than Daniel, so he's just going to show up?
No, I think they wanted to reuse him because he isn't really time traveling. He's talking with a time traveler,
right? And he's a good actor, is a good asset. They're good interactions with him and Archer. They need to keep him around. Because
Admiral Forrest and Saval are good actors and everyone is well cast in this situation, I don't mind the confrontation at Starfleet HQ for the first couple of minutes. But like everyone said, I think if it had ended sooner, anyone?
Yeah. They realize, oh crap, we didn't write enough minutes, and they probably filmed everything else. And like, man, let's just stretch it out.
Now, by the way, because kidnapping Archer didn't work, why not rewind time a little more and just whack Henry Archer when he's like 10? No Warp 5 engine?
Send the T-800 out there. Henry Archer. Yeah.
And by the first use of the word Federation is by Daniels in retrospect, meaning that no one named it because the name was just thrown back in time the way Velcro is about to be thrown back. Oh, I'm sorry, Hook and Loop. We don't want to get messed up for endorsing anyone here. Hook and Loop gets thrown back in time in the next episode. Light spoiler. I don't know. The cloak tech in this is unremarked on. I said that. We're rewinding time all over the place. Why not do it more? Daniels has an excuse, but what about the Suliban? Even though his excuse isn't good, they built it in there. It makes sense. You just can't understand it. Neither does Daniels. There's no monument to the Federation. If only we were so lucky. There's like 5 Star Trek shows that I will not watch. If only there was no monument to it. It should have ended in 2005. It's our Star Trek, at least that we're watching. This is a flawed and failed episode, but it's not bad-hearted and it's not poorly made. It just doesn't work. It's not a piece of shit. It's not low effort. Like things they tried. I don't feel like hope was ever abandoned here, but they did rightly not go back to this timeline ever again. Recap is comprehensive, but doesn't make part 1 feel like a waste of time because there's good character interactions. Some people want to argue that. Does anyone feel differently? Although it could have been one episode. We needed those character interactions so badly.
Yeah.
Gay weather. He sucks.
Oh man. So much to be talked about. He never gets better. He doesn't.
I know he was originally meant to be an extra. Not really. He's just there.
He had a breakout.
He's the guy sitting next to Data after they took away LaForge. before they brought in Ro.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, I like that.
I've got to give I've got to give it up to JT, who's he's fading fast, but so I'll let you put the countdown on it, or if you want, just say a few more words about this, because I have like maybe 10 more points. Anyone else who has to bail, I understand. I'll give you guys the option now, but I saw JT's private chat. JT, anything more you want to say on this one before I let you go? But first, let me thank you for you did a good job. I'm talking to you, mister.
Well, thank you. Admiral, appreciate it. Just last few words on this. I think Shockwave really sets up season 2 to go somewhere interesting, and hopefully without the time travel piece in that. So I think season 1 laid a lot of groundwork, and this finale / opener leaves us out into any possibility for season 2. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to next week.
JT, you did another journeyman job. I'm just calling down to the transporter room so that they can beam you to the middle of the northern continent below by the inland sea, where I hear it's kind of cold. But so stay warm, and thank you so much for being here this week. Anything else you want to pump? Promotion? Anyone you want?
Nope. I think I'm good for the moment. Things are
you on with Mark? Are you on with Dad, man?
Things are all tentative for that, so nothing concrete yet, but I will be in the future, so you'll definitely see me.
You can find them on the channel recommend tab. Thank you, JT. Let's go and properly beam you off in Saving Star Trek style. Because we kept you a little late, I want you to be refreshed, so I'm going to beam you back in time a half an hour. We're going to use the time transporter because this is a time travel episode.
Let me get that ready. Hold on. You ready?
Yes.
There he goes.
I have the actual time transporter that Daniels uses, or what? This is it.
That is a cool effect.
I use it in a lot of my videos to as my intro, and I use it at the end to let you know it's over. And I use the Deep Space Nine. What do you call it? Tricorder to let you know.
The tricorder one, yeah.
That's changing chapters, and so is the commands and the buttons. Like the Enterprise computer guides you through Even It's a Wonderful Life. So Daniels has really disturbing fucking hair. Here's my thought. I would have liked it. I really would have liked it better if Kelly Waymire had the role of Daniels.
Yeah.
Why not let her do it? She's hot. She's likable. There's something engendering and making you want to see her more, and making you like, we like her so much in every role that we want to see her more all the time. We've been fascinated by her since the first time.
And see more of her too.
We would love to see more of her. Thanks God they were smart enough to tailor that her uniform real nice. She was very cute, and she just had this. She emanated like kind of very much a girl of that era, like, you know. Like she's very confident. She doesn't have like a boy cut, but she's got shorter hair, like very much businesslike, very feminine, yet very competent, very, not like those traits don't go together, but very feminine, very competent, we don't see her being dangerous or tough, but if she had to, resourceful to say the least. And I think that the actress had the ability to play the role of the time traveling Daniels type character. But I declare Daniels as both badly written and uncastable, taking everyone off the hook. But anyone want to entertain the Kelly Waymire thought on that one?
I think anybody would have been a better choice.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I think it would have wasted the actress's talents, because she wouldn't have been able to be cute and feminine and a little flirtatious, you know, a little. You know, she was a little bit of an innocent side to her as Waymire. You couldn't have had those qualities as the time traveling linchpin. You know, that person has to be extremely dry. I think it would have been hard to mix some of those cute qualities we liked about her. You know, she was very bubbly. You can't be the bubbly time saver.
That's true. So yeah, it's my note of it's uncastable is just accurate.
Yeah, it's just a horrible idea for the time travel thing.
Yeah, we'll address that more on other points. I just want to say my grade. I forgot to give it on this one. I'm going to go with a flat C.
Ooh, combined the aggregate?
The aggregate for everyone is C minus, C, B, and C. So this episode, it's not exactly getting detention. Like, what do I have to say about this? If this episode was like a student and I was a teacher, which I am not, and I've never been, but like, well, here's the thing. This would be like if I was a parent and like I heard this about my kid, this would be what would be said to me if my kid was this episode. Ready? Sean, you know what? Kid tried. I don't understand why he doesn't understand his homework. There's some stuff we went over the other day that he seems unaware of already. I don't get why he finds his way into so much trouble, but I like him. He's a nice kid, and like with the music and stuff like that, I'd be like, he tries to participate in class. He's not always correct, but he does. He's a good citizen of the class, and you know what? He does add to discussions, not always on point, but you know what? I think I really need. You need to either get him a tutor or he has to start staying after school and coming to my office like 20 minutes extra. I got to watch him do his homework. And Sean, I need you to sign this kid's homework every night. Like, just you got to go over it with him. I think if you have the time, because he's not getting it. He's trying though. I feel he has the potential. I feel there is no good story in here though, and I feel that one day your kid will turn to crime. He's got the. If you don't break him of this time travel habit, Sean, your kid's got a time travel challenge. The first time it seems good because you jump through the Guardian forever and everything's pretty cool. Then you're just slingshotting around the sun again and again and again, and it's a Simon Earth and Gary 7, and it's a mixed bag. Once you go down that road,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, look at oh my God, Raul Julia's comment. That's very apt.
Is RTN said out of here? Oh, thank you guys for saying goodbye to him. JT covered it, and I think I did say goodbye when he left, but Saval makes a bunch of leaps to absurd conclusions in the absence of evidence. No wonder those pointed-eared wankers don't believe in time travel. Well, the time travel, but I believe that he knows he is lying and that they're out. Like Vulcans don't lie, probably is a saying already, but it's something that doesn't start to mean a lot, and it still doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. I have a feeling that like a lot of that would be in the book that these Dead Sea Scrolls we're going to find near the north.
Yeah,
like Tuvok's grandfather, someone wise like that, who's going to have a cool-headed grandson like Tuvok, right, Jerm?
Yeah, that seems attractive.
Let's see. And let's see. JT said he had loads of fun. It's an insane, long, busy day, and he hopes he all enjoyed our coverage of Shockwave. I enjoyed having him here, so it was great. And let's see. Mr. Sonic says good night. And in the future, Daniels can be resequeled. Yeah, it's a proper code. First off, can we build this hairline forward, or just get him a better barber, or get him a hat? Like it's like it's like at this point it's like what like our actor's got terrible hair, we're gonna put a fedora on him. It's like that's just begging Doctor Who. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll give him a really dumb wetsuit. Sometimes in the light, when it caught the light, I thought it was really cool, but the thing was it wasn't done well enough, or it wasn't like enough to save it, even though it was a good idea. Like they thought it would be a lot more visible. And let's see. Okay, if you are the Vulcans, do you tell the humans, sure, time travel is possible? Suddenly the Cubs have 50 World Series and anarchy everywhere. That brings me to my next thing here. And I got to hold off on the chat so we can make this part coherent, and I'll address them later, even if I have to stay alone for a little while. But you can't really understand a time traveler. But isn't it about time Archer started coming clean? Does Admiral Forrest know about the temporal Cold War? How many people know about this temporal time war?
I think he does.
He explained most of it to him. He's left details out. And I'm sure he's done the same. Forrest did the same when he was talking to the rest of the admirals.
Here's the thing.
There's certain things they don't need to know, so things run a little smoother.
If Archer gets killed, we're at a real disadvantage because he knows everything about this temporal time war and is pretty important. So our Trip and DePaul just read in and read but maybe not Mayweather, but is everybody read in except them?
I'm sure Paul and Florida Man are.
What is Florida Man's new thing? Like he can't have it. It can't be a gat. It might be able to be a fate. I don't know what it could be. Just fire with like the state of Florida. Could it be the state of Florida just with fire? Lots and lots of fire? A nuclear explosion over Florida? I don't know. It's like his Vesuvian. He's had a couple of like yelling moments here. Like he has yelled more than Riker yelled in 3 seasons of the first 3 seasons of TNG. So yeah, but we need to start telling everyone about this temporal time war. This is a big deal. I don't mean like mass panic, but like Starfleet Command needs to be totally read in, and the Vulcans need to know about it, no matter how they react. And we need to stop listening to the Vulcans all the time and tell them to F themselves. I don't like when Daniels shows up. I don't like Daniels because he changes the mission and the stakes. We were on mission. We had good stakes. This was a mistake. The entire time travel aspect fails. It's interesting in Broken Bow, and I give them credit for trying it, but it sucks. This has failed. Not shoddy or overly stupid. It just failed. I also really don't like the STD connection and that they blamed us getting an STD on Enterprise. Enterprise was a fair and beautiful lady who was nice, and maybe things went a little too far, but we loved her. Okay, I loved the NX-01 when what happened, and I stood by our child, and I paid all the alimony, and I stayed away like she wanted. That's what she wanted, and it's not my fault he messed around with the proto matter. That's his mother's fault. But that's not the point. I do not buy that Daniels is Kovitz. It's not connected. It's not the same thing. F that. Anybody on Daniels and Kovitz and STD?
No. Yeah, no comment because I didn't watch it.
Sean, anything for that?
No, I don't have anything.
I'm such a moment of anger anytime I think of STD. It's just like the
word decent doesn't apply to me.
So okay, we had a great open, but we shifted gears a lot. Just in closing, the other one, it's not a massive failure. I feel like their reach exceeded their grasp. What's stuck on that one, guys? Thoughts?
A little bit. Technically, everything was possible. It's just execution-wise, they didn't quite have it, especially when it came to the writing and pretty much everything when it came to the library at the end of time. That was just is like it was put in as an afterthought. They had to do that on scrap money and scrap writing. That's the only reason I could assume it was that bad.
I guess so, and that was a mistake to have that happen to your movie. Like they mismatched. No wonder. Like, does anybody think it's a referendum that like 5.4 million watched part 1 and 4.6 million watched part 2? Like there was
Is that what the ratings were?
We lost 500,000 of its 5.4.
But it was the next season, right?
Yeah,
it was like 12 weeks later, or maybe.
Okay, more. So what did episode 2 of season 2 do? Did it improve?
I haven't checked that one yet, so we'll find out with Carbon Creek. We'll see if it starts going back up. The thing is, the fact that your part 2 of your 2-part movie had less interest, it's like your show is not true.
I think it goes to what I was saying, that the cliffhanger wasn't it didn't make us like, oh, what's gonna happen? Oh my god, it wasn't that.
It was better than part 1 in this sense.
Well, true, but people didn't know that going into all they had to go on was what they saw at the end of season 1. They're like, really? You're bringing the Daniels weirdo guy back? And
I don't know if time travel is disproven until episode 2. I think it's just like, you better pay off this edge talk, which is why episode 1 is rated higher by Metacritic and other stuff than episode 2, which is like,
is it really?
Yeah, because episode 1 is all promise and no payoff. The payoff is a hangover. And I will say this, I guess I appreciate that they took the beating to pay it off. They paid attention to everything they set in motion and unset it in motion, whether we were satisfied with how they did it or not. They were cognizant of every single thing. If something went unaddressed, I missed it, because they seem to address everything. And the inverse of this would be when I was doing my little Twitter thing yesterday, where I only sent like 10 tweets about it, but on Rise of Skywalker, like J.J. Abrams thinks he knows how to do cause and effect. Those like weird towers that make the 5G towers that make the Star Destroyers able to navigate in atmosphere in Rise of Skywalker. We see them when the First Order ships come out and break through the ice or whatever the hell it is on Exegol. It's just that it doesn't register. We don't see them doing anything special, and there's no reference to it. So he doesn't. It's like there is failed setup. This is not failed setup. This is good setup that just does not connect. It fails in spite of being fairly well conceived. And we had some really good and as someone said, well considered dialogue and well reasoned talk. But it was at the worst part of the episode when they were extending the scene where they were basically having a Skype fight.
You know, I've never seen Rise of Skywalker. I refuse to.
It's redemptive. You should watch it. You'll love it. It's so redemptive. Okay, a little break here. Just a little break here. No, Rise of Skywalker is redemptive for this. J.J. Abrams wrecks up Star Trek. J.J. Abrams wrecks up Star Wars. But the thing is, when J.J. Abrams wrecks up Star Trek, there's a lot of there's a generation of new Star Wars fans coming online who are like raised on the prequels, and they change their minds and they redeem themselves. But they're dicks first. What happens is, I was like, I didn't like the trailer for Force Awakens, and I know what this guy's all about. And people are saying things to me like he made the only good Star Trek movie. And I was like, he made a Star Wars movie. And I would just say this, it was a terrible Star Trek movie, but the Star Wars fans who said that stuff to me, you deserve the fact that his Star Trek movies are better Star Wars movies than his Star Wars movies, which are just shit movies. But
yeah, I can see that.
After all the shit you went through, first of all, The Force Awakens is a little bit better than Into Darkness, which is I didn't think he had it in him. But nothing.
Into Darkness was horrible. The 09 Trek was I could have a right. I actually had a decent time. I can go and watch the 09 Trek, the first one. I can actually watch that movie,
but it's terrible.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I can watch it though. Like, yeah, it was, you know, like, okay, they had some fun with it. They didn't
like Star Trek 09 until you watch it too many times.
Right.
There's a couple of things like I could point out a couple of quick scenes to you right now that might change your mind. Like, how about this? I bypass the compressor, destroys Empire Strikes Back. Because that's the same system that Han Solo can't fix on his own ship. So if Rey was just there, or he was only as smart as fucking Rey, who called his ship garbage and and looked at it for 5 fucking minutes while she was being Wonder Ray, if he was only as smart as her on this ship that he lived on for like apparently at that point like something like 18 years, if he was only as good with his own systems as she was just looking him over.
Yeah, that well, no, I'm talking about Star Trek 09, not Force Awakens. Force Awakens was crap.
09. Okay, Star Trek 09, I can't enjoy it because of the destruction of Captain Kirk, eating the apple, the destruction of Kobayashi Maru, all the cut stuff, and JJ. One day, I think we have to get together with the panelists and watch JJ's special commentary where we all mute because we're going to be screaming and breaking shit. And then afterwards, it's going to be a long, long bit of yelling. The thing is, I don't think we have to find a way to make content out of it so people can hear it in his own words. I have the DVD. There's got to be a way to get it off there. We need JJ's commentary. The thing is, the music is playing and other stuff in the background, and we can't get rid of it. So if we cover it, it's still there. The algorithm will find it. Maybe it's members only or something, and I just have to demonetize it. But like, we're talking like, this is so embarrassing to them, the stuff he said, that they've tried to suppress it. He was like feeling his oats. He was like, and what I've done here is I've rescued the character of Captain Kirk, who is always just a really weak and poorly written character. And what I've done is I've raised him up and rehabilitated him and made him watchable by turning him into Indiana Jones. As you'll notice here on the saucer of the drill, which is not a Death Star at all, he does not fight to any advantage, and everything he does sets him back, just like in the plane fight on Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, which this is shot for shot the same as. And I'm like, I had noticed that and didn't like it, and now you're proud of that shit?
Well, he's kissing up to his daddy Spielberg. He's kissing up to him. But no, I mean, like what I mean, I don't mean to say I'm praising 09.
Yeah, no,
let's make that clear. I'm not praising Star Trek 09, but I if it's on TV, I'm like, okay, I can watch it, you know, and I just turn my love for original Trek off, and I'm like, okay, it's a little romp. They had a little fun with it, and
for me, that's For me, that's Into Darkness. I'm sorry. No, wait, no. Beyond. Star Trek Beyond is the least infuriating one because although it sucks, all the horrible stuff's behind us and we don't mostly talk about it.
That's true, but they're the biggest plot holes in that one.
The story is a wreck, but this is the thing. Captain Kirk is mostly brave and always smart. He's not a fucking idiot. Peg knew where to write good scenes on that. They're all true to character, and it's not Uhura and her weird friends.
Simon Pegg wrote the characters well in that movie, but the story and the plot line was just shit. It was so bad. But yeah, like there was
with those three,
right?
So many big gaping holes in every one of those films. That
absolutely.
We went from 11 to 9
Canyon to basically any other canyon on Earth.
We went from 11 concurrents to 09 when I accidentally said Into Darkness. Spread the word that I bet you we lost a few. I don't know. No, it's Beyond where I don't mind. I guess they act true to character. And in fact,
we have 11 right now.
Yeah, no, it went back. You know, sometimes what happens is YouTube is really weird about this. If you close my tab and go do something else, and don't change your life for me, but if my browser tab isn't open, like your view goes away, and when you come back, you're a new view that starts over with a new time count. So those things, if I understand this correctly, now someone may turn around and laugh at that, but I'm going to do a little something here that's going to enhance the broadcast in a minute. So I need you guys to buy some time with me, or at least discuss this one in good faith. But I said the trivia about Cloaked. The crew is salty and angry. T'Pol is not down with the Vulcan command. She kind of quits on them here in a way, and everyone has earned this moment of insubordination. I was gratified that they changed Admiral Forrest's mind. At the end of that stupid confrontation, the only thing that we got out of that long, drawn-out conversation was actually at the end of that long, drawn-out, non-stupid conversation, because everything was actually good dialogue and well-reasoned, just went on too long. We did learn those things, and they were of value. Do you guys want to comment on that while I do something a little bit special for our viewers?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. You're good. You're good there. How about you, Germ?
Well, for what happens later in the season, I think it was good to have T'Pol take the stand against the High Command. Archer's part, I don't know why they needed to reiterate what he had already said at least twice. But
yeah, dialogue was really redundant.
It was redundant. Yeah, they're just trying to drive home the point. Okay, we're not crawling anymore. We're walking. We're on our feet, just like the gazelle metaphor that you get.
Picard's gazelle metaphor. Watch this, guys. I don't want this shit. You fuck. All right. Something kind of cool happened, and I'm trying to pull up a way to show people in like a cool revelatory way. Yeah, the gazelle thing, that like honestly, it's like we got this leftover Picard speech. It's just that Bakula did do a good job with it. All through the episode, the crew's angry and salty. But here's the thing. Why not ask anybody along the line anywhere here? It's like we couldn't rewind time to save the colony. It's never even considered. Why do we believe in these temporal accords? Why are we following them?
Yeah. Well, even Archer was like, damn, that he didn't care. Archer's like, I don't care about I'm here now.
The thing is, he's not breaking with them. You know what I mean? He's not. He's not truly breaking with the temporal accords. He's still doing everything I said. Like for instance, they're like they have a dozen Klingon ships here, Captain, and he's like, just only go with. Look at this, guys. Here we are. This was the beginning of today. Through our latest technology.
A nice number.
Watch. Well, you know what? It gets nicer.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to thank everybody who joined the show. I guess it was a pretty strong episode. I want to thank you all. It's freaking awesome. And there might be a bot or two in there, but
She was attacked by what appears to be essentially a robot.
It's not bad though. Thanks. It's actually 2073, meaning that we've got 1700 wasn't that long ago. So a lot of progress. I credit Enterprise. I think it's just a really good show, and that it's rising in popularity the way the Star Wars prequels did. I said two things that were potentially career ending by mistake. Why don't we rewind time to the colony? Isolated from Bakula, the crew does really well. The B plot kicks the A plot's ass. Anyone?
You kind of cut out there.
The B plot.
The episode contains the standout performances is everybody except Mayweather. Isolated from Bakula, the crew does really well. The B plot kicks the A plot's ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it gets to the point that Archer and Daniels become the B plot.
Without
you're right. It does flip flop, doesn't it? It does turn its head.
My high point of this episode is T'Pol on the floor having the fake meltdown where she's like, she might be tapping into some of her real PTSD when she lures the Suliban over. The thing is, after she lures them over and does all that good acting, and it's all just like, get the drop on them. What about the part where she could just throw them 40 feet into a bulkhead? She's got super strength. Right? Like once she has them at bay, I guess the excuse is they just filled her full of fluids or whatever you want to say when they did that little firsthand, let's talk about what you know. The Vulcan science. Right? The Vulcan Science Council has determined that time travel is impossible. And by the way, I agree. It's impossible to have fun with, at least.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Victor Fontaine. You had a nice compliment there.
Let me see.
It says,
thank you.
Great stream. Yeah, thank you, man.
You know what? Victor Fontaine has always been generous. And look at his name's Victor Fontaine. Man loves Star Trek. You know what? I think it's not just another kindred spirit who lives and breathes Star Trek, and that one day we're going to have this dynamic Star Trek fan on here as a guest. You know what? Victor Fontaine, we're gonna start a community members, maybe we'll do one every couple of weeks. I think next week, you know what? We got a good shot of Roman of the Empire. And I can tell our fans, I've agreed that Roman of the Empire and I have agreed, and we just have to work out the date. The Star Trek, Star Wars, Who Has It Worse, Part 2. It's been a year since Part 1. We can sit down and talk about it again. So much bad things have happened since then. By the way, the greatest performance was I was captive to. I was captive to Jolene. I was a captive to Captive Jolene. That whole part was actually really good. The props were great. Okay. She looked hot in her t-shirt.
She's got nice abs.
Oh, I'm glad she wears
a little bit
t-shirt.
overshadowed by Linda Park and coming out of the air duct.
What was pretty cool is we're going to beat up one pretty girl. We're going to beat up both our pretty girls in this episode for fun. You know, in this episode, both of our heroes, our female heroes, are going to have to go through some trepidation and some. We're going to put them both through the fire, and I guess to Paul, it's really physical and brutal, and with Hoshi, it's she has to overcome some mental stuff, and Danger Junkie Hoshi obviously was like a step too far for the character. Like it works with the character. Like it's like she's overly afraid, then she becomes Danger Junkie Hoshi, and I think now she struck a happy medium. When they ask what she's doing, she's like, she doesn't bat an eye, but she's like, isn't there something else I can do? And you can tell she doesn't really mean it. You know what I mean? She's like, she's cracking wise. She just doesn't. She doesn't want to do it, but she's winding herself up. And Trip, like like a good leader, he's like, now I didn't kill hundreds of Tantarians. He's just like, come on, Hoshi, you got to do it. So, and she's like, fine. And I'd point out if they had the Norm Macdonald character from Orville, it would have been no problem. But whatever. And by the way, when you have a warp core breach on the people you're traveling for this vital information, again, why not rewind time?
Right.
Yeah.
Because they realize they can't do that.
The crew's non-compliance and Hoshi's bravery and Hoshi's body, amazing. T'Pol's performance is super strong, but the message from the future sucks. A great uprising sequence, surprisingly good, great acting. Then Shades of Interstellar, make it stop, where he sticks his hand through the wall. I hated that. The crew storyline is a whole lot better by a good bit. Great beatdown makeup on Reed. Why is Reed not laughing? Someone, was it JT, had a note on that? I don't know if he finished saying it. Was it that he was much better later? I guess the doctor could fix him up.
Yeah.
I guess my comment was, doesn't he know Archer wants Madman Theory, but he uses Madman Theory by letting them overly beat him down before he gives it up. He really wants to sell it. So that's what that was about. I don't like.
Speaking of Danger Seekers, do you notice my avatar? Do you recognize that guy?
Is that Super Dave Osborne?
No, that's Rex Kramer, Danger Seeker from Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh God! You know what? That's Timothy, not Timothy Dalton. George Lazenby reprises James Bond in that movie.
Okay, yeah, but this scene, this guy, he I can't even describe the scene. It's just not appropriate. Oh no, he puts himself in danger, and he goes and there's a bunch of dudes, over, making themselves warm, and he sits in front of them and yells a certain word that you can't say, and then he runs away, and they all chase him. It's like it's. You guys, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about to a degree, but here's the thing. Ladies and gentlemen of our audience, here's the deal. There was a movie called the
Phantom Outsider
movie, and it precedes the Airplane and Police Squad movies. It's those people. They hadn't figured out how to make their jokes into a story yet. So it's like really weird, really just one vignette after another. And like some of them are more memorable than others, and some of them are just insane. But you know what?
Phantom Outsider has it right. He says he's in Detroit, says something, and runs, and they chase him. That's really, but I love it. He just sits there and he puts his hands in the air, and they're all looking at him like, what this guy gonna do? It's very funny. But yeah, that's the same name they used for Robert Stack's character in Airplane. Rex Kramer.
They reuse a lot of jokes. If you watch the Police Squad show and then watch the first Police Squad movie, they recycle about half the jokes.
Oh sure, yeah, like the big guy. One. Yeah, the big guy. Like, hey, you got something on your face.
And like all of a sudden, like a fourth of a banana falls, like a thud.
Yeah. So you got something on your face. Thump. Those would be fun to watch. That'd be fun to do a watch party of the Police Squad.
By the way, that was one of the funniest. That would be a great watch party. You know what? Don't worry, Stewardess. I speak jive. That was the mother from Leave It to the Beaver. It was the shocker on that one.
Barbara Billingsley. Yeah.
Unreal. And she might have been in. Was she maybe in? No, I'm confusing the name. It's so similar with Barbara Babcock, who's in 2 TOS episodes. She's in Plato's Stepchildren and Taste of Armageddon. Death, destruction. That's what war is, counselor. That's what makes it a thing to be feared. I love when Seth MacFarlane does that one. But thank you to the people who joined today. That's like six or seven people. I have to express that again. If you're here, sound off. Welcome aboard. And they had a seat of the movie with the first with the Fistful of Yen, but used the other vignettes as filler. That's what it is, and they needed some time to work on it, but like certainly that movie commands attention and a lot of sequences are good. There's like Groove Tube is in a similar vein, and so is Weird Al Yankovic's movies, but maybe Weird Al has the most coherent of all. I would see this movie. Is this a real movie? Because if it's not a real movie, it needs to be made. I mean, like, not since the 80s have they been in trouble for me, but you know what I'm saying. Let's see. I remember Wally and Bev were in the courtroom scene in Kentucky Fried Chicken. Wait, when we say the Bev, Wally and the Beef, are they in a courtroom scene? Oh, so he has they have a history of working that as actors. Hey, Padawannabe, are we doing some football tomorrow? And how about them Baltimore Ravens? And how about them Bengals game? We just did the two-parter Shockwave. We're kind of finishing up our thoughts on that one. Everyone basically gave it B's and C's. It didn't do extremely well. Let's go to our audience poll on this one. I think I can finally remove and get rid of the theater of shame that we are going to deny we ever had when that lawsuit finally happens. But what is your grade on Shockwave, the complete? B wins out easily. I'm going to end the poll in a moment. You guys have a moment more. There's 13 votes. Right now it's A 23%, B 54%, C 23%. Much like us, no one thought it was a failure. Needed improvement. No one thought that there wasn't a good moments in this story. It's just that the idea wasn't good enough. And at some point realization set in, and they were just like, we got to kill off this time travel arc. Like in the middle of the story, it might have been during shooting. Like, could you imagine? It's like they're putting everyone together and they're like, okay, we want all the principal actors for this episode here. And they're like, not you, Daniels. Why don't you just go get some lunch? Listen, we're going to end the time travel arc. Fuck this shit. We're going to kill this guy off. Maybe we'll bring him back as an alien. His hair weirds me out. If he really, and then Scott Bakker's like, thank God. It's like, Scott, we're going to ask you to do the best you can. We wrote a great speech about a baby gazelle. I was like, I like it. Yep. You're going to love reading it.
Yeah. It's too bad. It's like, don't you want to go with giraffe? No, they're all wonky. They wobble around like a mother.
I recognized what that was doing. That was aping a very famous speech from American space history. That was based on JFK's moon speech.
Oh, yeah. It was a very much a trope.
I'm not going to go on a long oratory, but this is the part of the moon speech, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he's like, JFK lays out the progress of mankind, and he goes, it's just like, imagine, if you would, the progress of all mankind reduced to a time frame of just half a century. By this measure, only 3 months ago was the printing press. Only months ago did primitive man emerge from the woods, learn to cover himself with skins. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It's like only weeks ago the pyramids were built. Just earlier this morning, the Gutenberg Bible was, you know what I mean? Like that. And he's like, on the founding of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, the governor wrote that no great endeavor is undertaken without great risk and great enterprise. And that's why it's in there. And he says, so it's by this measure, by this measure of just 50 years, the breathtaking pace of human progress is accelerating, getting ever faster. And he says, somebody made a go ahead.
I gotta share this.
This one?
I just went to Grok, right?
Oh, okay.
And I said, convert JFK's going to the moon speech into jive. And
no.
It did it. Can I read a little bit of it?
Yeah, you know exactly how to censor. So read carefully. And
no, it doesn't swear or anything. Is it, man? Check this out. We choose to go to the moon. Dig it. We ain't doing it because it's easy, but because it's hard, you know? Like, we're going to show the world that we ain't playing round before this decade is out of sight. We're going to put a brother on the moon and bring him back safe, you dig? Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. We're going to make it happen. This ain't just about reaching some rock in the sky. It's about showing how we can come together, how we can push the limits, how we can make some real change. Feel me? We're going to do this, not just for us, but for all humanity, man. We got to prove that we got what it takes, that we can do the impossible. We ain't do it with style. So let's get down to business. Let's go to the moon and let's make this world a bit cooler, you dig? Hope it says, hope that jive translation grooves with you, man.
The only thing that could have made it better is JFK somewhere in that speech says, like, you know, and by the way, why is your college's football team so terrible? So that would have been and we'll even get your football team up to speed, my soul brothers.
Oh, damn. That was pretty good, man. God dang.
Rock does a good job.
I see. If it was a Microsoft thing, I'm sorry, we can't do that because it might be insensitive to some people.
Miss Katonic dug it. Yeah, ChatGPT says no. ChatGPT's like no. But let's see. Phantom Outsider has headcanon here. It's like they wanted Archer to step out of the beam and stand there, but Archer goes, "No, I want to make a leap home." They want. How about a drop kick? Done. LOL. That was anything but that way of him entering and coming back. That was like. Did anyone feel that they were kind of like lampshading? Like we're going to do quantum leap here, and hello, X coming online strong. Unless we have a surge of people on YouTube. No, it's X coming on strong. Germ, did you think that there were the whole like hit when he attacks Silik and like kind of beats him down, that was kind of like going with a couple of things that were aesthetically similar to Quantum Leap? Just another attempt to roll it into the Star Trek thing?
Maybe subconsciously, but just stepping out, they needed something a little bit more of a punch for that scene, and back it was probably like, why not a kick? I can still jump.
A Shatner kick. I like that we had. You know what? I will say this: violence is not the answer unless it's in a science fiction story. Archer beating up Silik was fine. I wish he had pistol whipped him a bit, but I guess the makeup would have come off. I would have liked a little more violence. Because if this was Admiral Teague and I was built as Archer, let me tell you something. You've been effing with me for a long time. I'm not monetized. You've been fucking with me for a long time, Silik. I might like. I would have been like, you know what? The audience needs this. Instead of going like 4 minutes of rhetoric at the end, how about we go another whole minute of just like you beating the crap out of Silik? People have had enough of him, and it's like, it'll be my pleasure. And the actor's just like, oh, can I get a stunt double? It's like, we can't really get that kind of makeup on anyone else. You're gonna have to take the beating yourself. No, seriously. How about action in that sequence?
Skip all
even
that.
Jumping out of the beam.
Archer's coming back.
Right.
You can have just a quick scene of him jumping out of the gate and beating on Silik for a little bit. But the next time you see Archer, he's flying the ship up, and they ask him how he is able to sneak away, and they're a little busy at the moment, and cut back. The thing's on fire. It's basically about to explode. Silik is cursing Archer.
That's true. He's effed up his tech. All right. RRTNZ says Chuck Norris got a PhD in maths for solving an unsolvable maths problem with the single word violence, because Chuck Norris can solve any problem with violence. He's Chuck Norris. He then kicked the textbook and the school it was in into the sun. We love our Chuck Norris jokes, guys. 13 votes have stood for a while. I'm ending the poll. It seems to me that overall, we have really, and I compliment you guys. At the beginning, it was the
Good
channel
spread.
makeup. We have put that's what it's just Jamal had a great spread laying on that bed, but she was like had PTSD. Germ, we have a new slate of electors has been volunteered and proffered up here, and here we go. What are your grades for Shockwave? Would you care to read as the vice president and certifier of elections here at Saving Star Trek? Would you care to read the grades for Shockwave?
Yeah, we have 53% for B, 23% for A, and 23% for C. And no one voted for DRF, which is understandable.
Very understandable. Did you see any of these people maybe voting a couple of times? Can we count on this to be 13 votes for 13 people? I don't know, because I noticed that there's a couple of write-ins for Biden just coming in now. I don't understand why they're on the lunch truck. When I went to vote, it thanked me and told me I'd already voted for Biden. But my grade for Shockwave was I gave it a flat C, so I'm with 23% of you. Every one of these is a very defensible hill. What I will say is I love that Enterprise fans who love Enterprise are here with us. For a lot of you, this is your first Star Trek show. And I think, guys, we're going to have the singular honor of leading people who came up on other shows into TOS for the first time. Think about that when we get there.
I sure hope people stick around. I would love to get more viewers that are new to the entire Trek. Yeah.
Subscribers tonight. We're doing great.
Yeah.
We got 11 more subscribers tonight. Apparently, this stream went well. And Admiral Teague thanks everybody who joined. It's so great to have you aboard. I think that we are proving that this can be saved. And the Infection 31 thing being just one episode, I think that reduces the problems we have. And by the way, just really quickly, two peoples separated by one language. RRTNZ from the British Isles now lives in New Zealand, which he claims is real. He calls it maths. That's not a typo. That's what they call it. Did you know that?
Yeah. It's always been very hard for me to grasp that maths.
They harbor a favor for extra letters that colors their harboring of words like Teague, which I improved.
Yeah, no, but I could never get I could never get the maths thing, and I understand that it's short for mathematics. I understand the logic behind it. It just doesn't roll off the tongue well for me. Maths. It's like trying to say Lil. I can't say Lil. Ugh. Doesn't flow.
Yeah, right now, I think the funniest thing I learned from YouTube was Drinker was talking to Mauler, and Mauler's like, well, in Welsh it's mathematig, and he's like, what? He's like, yeah, it's mathematic, and it's like eggs, and he's like, yeah, and it's like, wow. And it's like, I think like Rags is the guest, and he's like, hey man, we got a bunch of eggs, we need to count them.
Yeah,
but I guess we've reached. We pretty much said it all about this episode. We'll talk more Star Trek, but just to show you that we're in bonus time. First of all, I release everyone from their commitment to stay here, and I think we'll be around not a whole shitload longer because we went 3:30, but like I think I want to go about like 15 more to address just some stuff and cover some other stuff, so everyone can make the decision, give it when they come back. But right now, to save everyone a lot of time, I want you to see everything that ever happens to Han Solo in 40 seconds. It'll save you a lot of money.
One question. You want to live, Spark?
Yeah, but this time I've got the money.
Hey,
You tell Jabba. Yeah.
Very nice.
I know that laugh.
Yes, anything.
There you
Pretty
go.
much.
Lots character preserved, lots of money saved. It's a lot less embarrassing than seeing it the long way. But you know what? That's in other news. We're going to get together with some people and talk about the state of Star Wars. What a freaking disaster. Whew. I think we might actually be in for some, maybe it'll get worse before it gets better because Infection 31 exists. But the thing is, since No Connection 31 is only one like 2-hour give or take movie that won't have any real context, and apparently is a reboot of the character just to have her in there with everything thrown out the window just to have her. So they're really just gonna destroy their own lore, like flying out of a show that's no longer canon. Was all this to push their hashtag? Yes, of course. But
I think
new Gregoriou, no more Discovery being canon frees them up to have this new Gregoriou, doesn't it? So she's not out of character anymore.
Well, I think, the whole thing was it was originally going to be the series, and it was going to be awesome because everyone liked the Empress lady, and then that didn't happen, and then this garbage got put out, and I think it's only because they had to have had some kind of contractual obligation with Philippia Georgiou, an overrated actress lady. They had to have had some contract where they had to make something, and they're like, okay, well, we're in for $10 million on her. Let's just put some garbage out.
It wasn't, I don't think it was about money. I think it was that she had a commitment. Their side of the story was that she wasn't reluctant, but she had a time crunch. Tom Connors was just like, they took everything they had and made her any promise they could and threw as much money as they had and told her that she could do as little work as possible. We're talking like not 8 days. We're talking like a couple. Like day, 2 days, 3 days. And then the Tachyon Pulse podcast, which I absolutely and deeply endorse. I want to say, check them out. They have a update on it. That guy saw the movie. He saw the movie. He saw both endings. He said it was very incoherent. He said it was really terrible. He said the bulk of the movie was finished and that maybe it needed some music. And he said, how could music help it? And by the way, they don't add any music in new Star Trek, so I don't think they're going to get any. But he said, the music helped. You would have, maybe that'll help. He was reserving total judgment, but he said it smacked of Discovery and not the best of Discovery. So I was like, ooh. And now if Discovery is not canon, what does that mean about this Star Trek Academy show that they're making, where these freaking idiots are going to have Tilly and Doug Jones and all these other fucking cast-offs from Star Trek Discovery? So that show's not canon, and they just exist, played by other actors with the same names in the future, in Kovitz land in like the 29th century or whatever the hell those assholes are. This show is going to exist outside of canon of the other shows. Is this a new movie boot? And Tom Connors said to me, and I know he meant it. He said it again. They all reports they have is that from the side of this that has Kurtzman is that he remains clueless and is absolutely convinced that they're going to turn it around tomorrow with this movie. Guys, we have a No Connection 31 watch party. Who's going to help me through that one?
It depends how altered I can get for it. I'm going to need something very, very strong. Maybe a lobotomy.
Stick your finger in a socket. No, don't do that. I hold your breath for a really long
for legal
time.
reasons, folks. Don't do that.
Yeah, for legal reasons, don't do that. You'll black out your state, and I'll get in trouble. Radioactive dropped me a link. Ricci calculus in mathematics. Ricci calculus constitutes the rules of index notation and the manipulation of tensors and tensor fields on a differential manifold with or without a metric tensor or connection. Oh, if
clearly
I knew
you
that
didn't know that.
I know. I mean, I was checking the Wikipedia definition, which is wrong. Of course, it's a little bit short. I mean, I would have summed it up a little more fulsomely, but on a bare bones level, I think it's there. This is some serious math. But I will say this: I'm getting ready to make a confession. It was I who changed the Wikipedia entries on Riggs. And you know what? I got to be honest, the Wikipedia entries have been helpful, but like watching the episode and then just writing a script off it is no substitute. And that's been the beauty of one episode at a time. 2 tonight. This was a lot of Star Trek to watch in one day. I had to watch it twice, so I had the equivalent of 4 episodes. So now I'm up to like 8 views on this because I've seen it before. The 2-parter. So I've seen like the 2 parts, the combined, whatever. So I've seen the whole thing like 4 times. Maybe 6. I have this one pretty well burned into my mind. It didn't damage me, but I don't need another one of these. I don't need a. I think there's a mid-season 2-parter that's better than this.
Oh, I like. You mean you don't like the 2-parters or this particular
I don't need
story?
Another one of this story. The crew's defiance alone. If the crew was defiant on their own and we had a better captive Archer tale, maybe it would have been good. Honestly, it wasn't. The crew's defiance had me on board, and they knew when to get me interested with Hoshi. And let's see, in case anybody's thinking about leaving. We have ways of making you stay. I want to. Let's do the power of this.
I don't need that. Really. That's already burned in. That's in the bank. But
I broke my wrist when this episode was on. I had punching myself in the crotch until the swelling went down. What can I tell you? It was a needed medical procedure, but there we go. We usually look at Pat and we'd rather look at Hoshi. What do you think?
Oh.
Either one is fine with me. It's 2 great tastes that taste great together. Lady Linda Park's still in like 46. Like, come by, Linda. Sydney, you probably know some things Sydney doesn't. But yeah, I mean, of course, Ricci calculus, and of course the Boolean gamble, if I remember that one correctly, where John Booles was a theologian who also did math. He said that like you should just believe in God because by the rules of math, believing in God was the only logical step. And he published like a whole book proving it, and like some of that stuff was also applicable to other stuff. But in this book, proving that you should believe in God, I think that like what he did was at the end, like he mathematically proved out painstakingly so that something you could say in one sentence. If there is God and you believe in him, you gain everything. If there is God and you don't believe in him, you lose everything. If there's no God and you believe in him, you lose nothing. If there's no God and you don't believe in him, you lose nothing. So the only choice of the 4 is to just jump in there with both feet and believe. But that's like how like some of these math things come up. Talk about math. We got some of these math things from really just strange inspiration or surprising inspiration. All matrices are tensors, says Miskatonic, but not all tensors are matrices. The more you know. Well, of course, I assume that you guys knew that, obviously. And then radioactive is, of course, correct here. Yeah, the tensors are not linear and algebraic matrices. We've raised the IQ level of the show. I'm surprised people no one's jumped.
I'm going to start thinking about set theory, and then my mind's going to melt.
Wasn't it good that we're starting to climb up to the highest amount of concurrence we had all night? Our peak was like 16, which is great for a watch party where a lot of people were here the whole time. We didn't donut hole that bad, which means a lot of people love our commentary. I thank you for that. This episode's definitely getting an upload that it's not going to be too hard to make. I'll just have to cut out the 30 minutes between the end of my review and when I remember to give the letter grade, or maybe I'll just re-record that later and stick it in. But
just do a little fade and fade out, fade in. You're good.
I can just I'll graph that on there. Like I said, I raise all of our IQs about 15% when I do that, and I make Germ slightly hyperactive.
Or you just do an audio dub and go, with the magic of alien materialization devices, we now go to grade. And then you go.
Oh, Miskatonic's sending emojis to you.
Oh, yeah. Matrices are two-dimensional tensors.
Since my audio deck and my microphone are both weird, I guess I'm going to have to the microphone seems to be the more likely culprit, but if it's the deck, then what will happen is I'll be stuck with a microphone and I won't have a worthy deck. I don't know if I should buy one with the preloaded sounds, or since I already just got 2 and the first one didn't work, stick with this one because I think JT might have the same one and his sounds good, and then just see if it's the microphone. But certainly you guys helped me out tonight on that one. Thanks for the generosity.
Oh, yeah. Hey, and if you go to the bar across the street, someone will make your deck worthy.
Ooh, if I go to the bar up the street, I can even maybe make a little money, but then I would have to wake up with terrible memories, and I would need to spend that money on things to make those memories go away.
What good are standards? They just get in the way.
Yeah, what can I tell you? It's real work in New York. I just have to pay taxes on it and admit that I did it. Oh God. Let's see. Everybody's having some fun. That's the power of math. It's the first time a Star Trek community has used that line and actually had fun with it. So here's our plan with No Connection 31. Since it is out there, let's get it out of the way right away, more or less, when it drops. The thing is that 1923 starts the same day. So if 1923 and Section 31 are on the same day, that's some easy shit. Fuck Section 31. We're watching the next episode of 1923. Out of the top 10 performing things on this channel last month, the watch parties do good. But the Yellowstone watch parties from last year pile on 300 and 400 views a week each. People are watching a lot of them when they watch them, and Yellowstone is just on fire. Now, Yellowstone Prime on a bit of a hiatus. That's coming back as the Madison. But 1923 is coming back, and that show has a future. It's going to continue, and 1883 is the one that's, when we get to the end of it, that show actually has a hard ending, and probably a heartbreaking ending. But we'll get back to that. I'm going to maybe Tuesday a watch party for 1883. So keep that in mind, guys. I'll get Wes Cagle, maybe Germ. When Germ can do it, it'll be contingent, and I'll try to get Wes Cagle, and I'll try to get a Radioactive back for that one, because we had fun with it. We always have fun with 1883. Lately we've been slightly baffled. They just don't want to get to where they're going. And it's just, we're hitting peak concurrence on X and on YouTube. So I thank you guys as it continues to climb. And welcome to Saving Star Trek. We're kind of wrapping up here, but we love that you're here. Thank you so much. If you like and follow my channel, there are uploads and all other content. I do video essays and I do reviews. And there, if you subscribe to my channel and give it a try, I would be very, very personally grateful. And if you don't like it, you can just quit. And if you quit and you say you hate it, I'll say thank you for trying it, because you know what? That's fair enough. If you try it and you don't like it, that's good enough for me, man. And as far as my friends, their channels are in the recommends tab of this of my front page. And Sean has got a great sci-fi model show, and Germ does some great stuff with animation. He's an animation expert. One day we'll get to the animated series. And speaking of animated, the guy who does the TAS independent cartoons made a new one. He's got a new alternate universe. He's doing a multiverse now. And in this multiverse, there's an Andorian first officer, and it's not Spock or Mirror Spock. It's Sub-Commander Thalen, and he goes around helping people with their logical problems from an Andorian perspective. It's kind of fun. I liked it.
Yeah, the Andorians are quite capable of logic. They're that's cool. I would love to talk to someone who is a Trek fan now, but started with Enterprise and then ate up all the rest of it. They watched that, then went to TOS, TNG. I'd love to talk to somebody.
We're about 67 episodes away from creating a bunch.
I hope so. I want to hear from those folks.
Guys, stay with us for TOS. This is the choice we have. Watch it the original way or watch the special edition. Sean makes practical models, and he even prefers the special edition most of the time. It'll be episode by episode for certain things, because the Horta one fucking sucked. But aside from that, the special edition of the TOS thing, there's no interior special effects. It's all like space exteriors and space battles. And it doesn't have any bearing on the rest of the episode, and it improves it in a way.
Well, yeah. Just a minor caveat, just a minor comment to what you said. They do clean up some of the internal shots as far as the phasers. If they're shooting the phaser, they'll clean up the little beam of light so that it times with the sound. I know there's one part in the Mirror Universe story where he uses the agonizer. They put some little shocky, little things like that. Little subtle stuff, yeah, but nothing major, nothing major at all. They just little additions. Yeah,
there are like maybe 15 total changes to things that happen inside or in their environment because it's not a lot. Because there's not a lot you can do. And like what Sean said, like when like there's a phaser blast, they did change the things that he said, but that phaser blast looks more or less exactly the same. They didn't try to say give the TO a TNT phaser.
Oh, correct. No, they just cleaned it up. The timing. Yeah, the timing, and they made them maybe more consistent because there's a few phaser effects during the 3 years that they change a little bit, and I think they kind of made them more consistent.
They made it more consistent, and also like we don't have like the sound, and then the phaser goes off just a little bit detectably later,
right? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
And it was acceptable on TV in the 70s, but if you're making a reproduction of it, like that's, you know, like if the phaser has a campy splash effect, that's part of like the beauty of it. Like they were well advised in that special edition, so we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And that was Michael Okada was in charge of it. I believe.
Yes,
I think he was.
He's from the Enterprise guy. The Enterprise special effects guy leads the team, and the thing is, he says that like they had to leave the impulse engines off a lot because they didn't have money. They saved up for like the big stuff. It's like most of our budget went to the Doomsday Machine, and I'm like, you made the right choice. He's just like, we really wanted to do it justice, man. Like that was the one that really like never got to where the vision was of the writer. And it's like, we didn't change much, but we made the attacks more effective, etc. So that one was a lot of fun. And then thank you, Wes Cagle. There's Resolute Germ. And underneath that is Sci-Fi Model Guy. I guess what I'll say is, guys, tell everyone what you're doing this week. And it's been another exciting saving Star Trek. What are you guys up to? Sean, you go first.
Okay. I'm going to be trying to do some more work. I am doing a dual build of the USS Enterprise. One of them is for Carla Burton, and the other one is for another person who won it during the giveaway drawing I had. So I'm building both models, recording what I'm learning there. These ones are going to be really cool. I'm adding some new stuff to these kits. They're smaller kits, so I'm adding some neat stuff. And then Wednesday, I'll be on Pop Culture Breakdown. We're going to be doing the Pink Panther, Return of the Pink Panther. I think that's the one, the third one.
Pop Culture Breakdown. What's that?
That is on Doomcock. Yeah.
Doomcock, who's he?
He's that guy.
Don't insult my intelligence, Kirk.
Yeah. Oh, Radioactive. Yeah, I am going to do the Constellation A. I think Teague deserves.
I'm the only person who has two constellations. Wow.
Well, no, but you need to get the refit version. We need to give you like the Constellation A, like we see in the motion picture, like what they actually go back and do but we should do the 3-foot one for you.
I was actually, oh, wow. By the way, I was accidentally, this terrible thing happened to me today. Two things happened to me today. One will happen tomorrow. I accidentally was exposed to information from corporate media. And it went on for like 3 or 4 minutes before I realized it because the football game had ended. So when I turned it off, thank God, I turned off the lights, and I think I put it in the group chat. And if you look, you'll see it there. It's like I'm turning off the lights and turning on the Starship and just looking at it for a while. And I just spent like 10 minutes listening to like the Voyager theme, looking at the constellation, watching like the pulsing fires. And I'm like, I feel good now. And I feel like it made for a great show. But Germ, your turn.
Yeah, I should have a couple of recorded stuff coming out this week, and hopefully, almost assuredly, I should have cartoons back next Saturday.
That's great. Right. That's good.
Okay, so everybody's got everything taken care of? I got everyone's pictures in. Okay, and of course, subscribe to all my friends on my recommends tab, and please join me so that I can set sail to greater frontiers. And you know what? Now that we're at 2,076 subs and it's a 2.07 next to my name, soon it'll be a 2.1. And I thank everyone who's joined me, and I thank everyone who's been here. Check out the uploaded content, and this has been Saving Star Trek. What do you think? Do we go out? Well, we've broken so much copyright. Do we play the Star Trek theme again, or do we play Sydney Sweeney, or do we embarrass George Lucas and then play the Star Trek theme? We probably we have to take it on to George first.
Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney wins. All right. First of all, this is what we're fighting. One more time. It's extremely important. It's extremely important that you do not use hashtag Star Trek. Here's one of the problems. We have very limited means of retaliating without being made out to be the bad guys. We have very, very limited means of retaliating without being with something that they could use against us. And I'm not in this for money. I'm in this to try to save Star Trek, or at least shame the bastards. I'm not here to die for Star Trek. I'm not here to lose Star Trek. I'm here to make the other poor bastard lose their Star Trek. And how do we do that? We reduce them to the comic book and young teen novels that no one will buy, and stories that everyone will fucking hate and will be burned and thrown out of every school. Imagine that in your school library, Sean. Would you go protest if you went to your kid's school library and had a Star Trek Discovery novel there? I might get a little bit, but it's like, why is this a moral shit in here?
Yeah.
When I was young, Star Trek was a great show. We had a great Star Trek when I was a kid. But honestly, join with me, and we love you all. Sydney Sweeney won. So here you go. We have one more comment. Hashtag derp.
Derp.
Don't use that. You know what? Here's the hashtag that I've been using. It can't really easily be co-opted, and it doesn't seem to have anyone else using it right now. They cannot claim that it's about them. I'm using this hashtag ENT. And I am not making a video, and I'm not going to capitalize on this Star Trek shit. I've got Yellowstone, and I'll do better with that. But also, it's a matter of principle. I don't need them. Saving Star Trek was brought to you by the love of the genius of Gene Roddenberry, the love of the panel, and the generosity of Star Trek fans like Radioactive.
Yeah.
Memberships. The Dead Man, who is very generous with a super chat, and RRTNZ, one of our regular contributors and a real just difference maker in the channel, keeping the lights on. Thank you, RRTNZ. This is a great season ender. It was decent, honestly. It was the season beginner part of it that had the problems, even though that was maybe the better episode. I have goodwill towards the franchise still, and I know I'm very interested. We got 5 new members tonight. And you know what? Who needs fucking goals? Okay, who needs goals? I'll pass on YouTube's suggestion on how to commercialize you guys that much more. Though, I don't have any problem with people using them. I'm just saying, for me, it no work. During the week, when we talk pop culture and we have a little bit of news and stuff like that, different story. But the picture of Hoshi, we can bring that back when we go away. But you know what? Thank you all for being here. You earned Sydney Sweeney. You get to look at Hoshi until you see that. And here it is. Guys, thank you all. We love you.
The word decent doesn't apply to me.